Welcome, everybody. Hey, June 14th, and I see all the comments. You see all the buzz. And you know what I want to say before we even start, because we're going to get into the Jake Bates stuff. But I got to give a special shout out. The first to share that Jake Bates news after it was initially reported from Aaron Wilson, who's great at what he does. He breaks a lot of news.
Shout out Aaron Wilson.
Was Booner. So you know what, Boone?
Booner.
You know what? Give it up for Boone.
Crunch time, baby. It's all
Booner
about crunch time.
He was the first person here locally I saw put it out. That was incredible. Jake Bates is a Detroit Lion, and we're going to get into it. All right, Klotz will be joining us in a second. How's everyone doing today? Starting with you boys. How we doing?
Jake Bates is the Lion. The Booner path.
Lion.
Another day for the Booner path to shine. The flowers, the daisies, the sun's out, blue skies, and all we see ahead of us is we see Dan Campbell up in the sky. We see Jared Goff, Jake Bates, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and right next to them, guess what I see, boys?
What do you see?
A Lombardi trophy.
Oh,
It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.
no.
Feel Good Friday, as people would say.
Yeah, well, we
Booner
got a
path,
lot.
baby.
We got a lot to get to. Mike, how you feeling? I love the hat again. This is twice
Yeah,
you're wearing it
sorry.
now. It's just as
Okay.
beautiful as it did yesterday. Just as beautiful.
Obviously, the hat's doing good. Sorry, I was having a little audio issues for a second, but I'm doing great. Obviously, Jake Bates is a Lion. Booner, did we help bring Jake Bates home?
I think we did. That was part of the
We
Booner
pro-
path, and I think us going to the UFL game, Michigan Panthers, I think we did it. And then you know what? I want to credit. You know what? No, you know who I want to actually credit? I want to credit the fans because I put a video out on Crunch Time before the show. Every single home game in Ford Field, it was just Bates chants the whole time. Everyone there gave Jake Bates the love, dude. And like what people don't realize, and I'm pretty sure, is a lot of people are saying, "Hey, keep Jake Bates like he's already living here." Pretty sure Michigan Panthers don't even live like that team practices somewhere else down south. Like they literally fly in just for the games. I'm like 80% sure. So like he wasn't even living here, but I think the fans kind of backing him and then the support that was shown over those times of him playing in Ford Field as their home games. I think that like that brought him a little bit, like that's part of it. So shout out to the fans.
Yeah, man, maybe just playing in Ford Field in general, or playing a lot of indoor games with the Lions in general might have, suckered him up too. So who knows? But either way, we've been begging for this, Booner. Just some competition, some guys in there. We obviously haven't been very confident in Badgley, so. And obviously, we got the Michigan man, James Turner, too. But who knows? Either way, it's competition, no matter if Jake Bates makes the roster, which I'm sure we're all hoping for at this point. But either way.
Yeah, Jake Bates provides competition to a room that I don't think is solidified yet. James Turner has shown a lot, and I know he's probably the favorite, many would say, to win the job. You still need to test him, and I think who else better to test him than someone who was a hot commodity in the kicking market, at least for agency. I mean, that's Jake Bates. I know he ended this season for the UFL. He struggled a little bit, but you can't take away from him what he did early on, which was just absolutely be one of the biggest reasons the Panthers were even winning games. I mean, their offense was not great, and he was accounting for most of their offense, to be honest with you. They would just get in range and let Jake Bates fire away, and he would stack up, 10, 12, or 12 points in total, whatever it was, just to propel them to victory. So he's a good kicker. Now, whether that translates or not, I mean, it's competition. We have yet to know at this point. But what does benefit Jake Bates is he got to play at Ford Field.
Yep.
It's not outside. And guess what? If he makes the roster, wins the job, he gets to play at Ford Field. The same place he was playing with the Michigan Panthers. So, there's some familiarity there. It's better. I mean, Green Bay, you're kicking outside. You go to the Ravens, they're kicking outside. So with the Detroit Lions, a team that's primed to go out there and chase a Super Bowl, you get to kick indoors. He stays here locally. At least the fans are already familiar with him. It's a job that he could go out there and win very well. I don't think it's no one's guaranteed the job at this point. it makes sense all around. So I'm glad they got it done, and I'm curious to see again this battle continue. And I think Bates is a real threat. He's a real threat.
Is it? I want it known too that it's not official completely yet until Tuesday. I don't know if you have the tweet, but like when I put the tweet out, it said until Tuesday it should be official. Like that's when it's supposed to get released. So hopefully that news comes out. That's what was reported was Tuesday. So that it's expected to get done. So people are like, is it official yet? Not official until Tuesday, I believe. But Jeff, I'm kind of with you a little bit, and the Jake Bates stuff. It's exciting because it's a guy that has the leg. But at the end of the day, this was his first season ever kicking field goals at essentially a competitive level at that and at that like a professional level. So like he's going to come in there. I don't think it's like an instant, oh, Jake Bates is your kicker now. That's the Detroit's kicker. Like I do think there's like hey, there's going to be a learning curve. He's going to have to go in there, and he's competing with guys who have kicked field goals for their career. Like Michael Badgley has been an NFL kicker the last 4 or however many years it's been. James Turner just won a national championship at Michigan kicking field goals. So he's going to go in there. Like he does have the leg. He probably has the highest ceiling and the most potential out of any of these 3 kickers. But it's about like you guys, we all know the whole thing with the Michigan Panthers at the end of the season. Like he did struggle down the stretch a little bit, and outdoors he did struggle. But I think it's the upside that he's already kicked multiple 60-yard field goals in a competitive environment. He's kicked 50-yard field goals like consistently in a competitive environment in an actual football game, an organized game. So that's where I think like you do have that upside. So I think there's going to be honestly, like I know we're locally, so we do see this battle, and we don't really know a lot of other kicking battles around the NFL. Might be one of the most anticipated and one of the best kicking battles in the NFL now that you have Jake Bates going there. You have, James Turner, who's been perfect during OTAs, and you have Michael Badgley, who had the job last year. Like this is an anticipated kicking battle. Who knows who's going to come out at top? But all I know is whoever ends up coming out on top and whoever ends up winning that job is going to be extremely polished. They're going to be ready to go because they're kicking against, it's iron sharpens iron. Like these guys are going to be going in there and battling. It's like the secondary room with the Detroit Lions right now. Those guys are battling it out, helping each other get better. Jake Bates is only going to get better with these guys. Like that's all it's going to happen. And I wouldn't be shocked if he wins the job. And like once he starts getting consistent and actually getting within a room to where he's working with guys that are able to help him and who have the experience, I think that's perfect. What does that mean?
Yeah, you know what? That's up to you. I don't know.
I don't know what that means, Ed.
It's up for you to
Booner
explain
got
that.
me fired up about Jake Bates, though. I was already fired up after the tweet, but Booner knows how to get the boys fired up.
Let's go, boys.
I think part of him translating, I guess for me, I'm curious, and you won't really know this till preseason or the season if he wins the job. And I guess maybe training camp, because there'll be fans there. But having the Panthers, I think we went to a game, I think it was they played Memphis. And I think it had 9,500 people there. And that was one of the biggest crowds of the year. So now you're going into an environment at Ford Field where now you're talking 6 times that, more than that. So that's really the only thing. I don't think you can really question his ability, his talent, his leg, but really it's just kicking in front of that crowd. That's probably the biggest thing I'm looking for. Because he has to still compete and win the job, but even if he's on the roster and he's a starting kicker, it's like, it's going to be a very different thing for him. Going out there at Ford Field, 50, 60,000 screaming fans, and they're rowdy, and he's got to hit some very clutch kicks. Like that's at least Badgley. Say what you want about him. We're not huge fans of him. He's fine, but he's at least gotten acclimated to that. I mean, he hit one against the Rams in one of the most anticipated games of our lifetime. So
yeah,
you
guys have to realize
the only
too.
Thing with Bates for me,
the another example of the same situation with Jake Bates is Brandon Aubrey in Dallas. Going from basically I think at the time it was the XFL, I think he came from, or the USFL when they were split up, and went to Dallas, and he was in a kicking battle last summer at training camp as well. And Jeff, I'm sure that was a question, was on the big stage in the NFL, will he be able to do that? So I do think like once you get into the NFL locker room and you start working with NFL coaches and NFL special teams, and like just think about it, like with with these other kickers in that room, guys who have been there, I think that's going to help elevate his game that much more. Because like with Brandon Aubrey, I'm sure it was a very similar situation. We know he had the leg and he can be consistent, but there are times to where he struggles because, you know, he hasn't played at that high level yet, because Brandon Aubrey didn't play. He wasn't a kicker before that. He played soccer. It's the same similar thing with Jake Bates, to where he really didn't kick field goals before last year. This was his first time. So I think now it's like Sion Vaki played 2 positions, never focused on running back. Now he focuses on one position. He's going to hopefully be elite at it. It's the same thing with Jake Bates. Now he's able to just to be like straight kicker in training camp. Get elite at it. Figure it out.
Yeah. It's worth the shot for the Lions. They bring him in. You get to see what he has. If he wins the job, great. If he doesn't, cool. Whoever's the best kicker will come out on top. If it's James Turner, then it's James Turner. But it's more competition. I like the room better than I did yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I just like the fact that they're going to battle it. They're going to make each other better. Like whoever comes out of it, I don't think, honestly, if you guys want to be honest, you know who I think it's a 1A, 1B. Like the battle is going to be between James Turner and Jake Bates. And I think Michael Badgley, it's like, hey, sorry. I know you've made a kicks, but like you've been pretty like in training, in OTAs and mini camps, you're supposed to be the vet kicker, and you're the one that's missing all of these kicks in mini camp. That and Jeff, to your point, that's just in mini camp. Even if you made a kick in the playoffs, you're missing kicks in mini camp. Like you're being inconsistent. I don't want my kicker to be doing that. I want a guy like James Turner who's going to consistently hit, whether it's in a game situation, training camp, OTAs. Same with Jake Bates.
And the difference is you at least have a sample size with Michael Badgley in game. James Turner has yet to play in an NFL game. So
Michael Badgley also got cut from your team last year too. So
it's true.
Yeah. I do think Michael Badgley is going to be the odd man out, but I don't think they're just like brushing him to the side after struggling in OTAs. I still think they'll go through the training camp, obviously, with those 3 guys, and he'll still have to fight for his job. But I just, there's at this point in time, like Booner said, the potential with Jake Bates, like if he goes out there and even has a halfway decent or like matches up with those guys, I feel like there's no way that he doesn't walk away our kicker.
Yeah, Badgley, you said inconsistent. That's about right. I mean, there was days where he struggled, and there was days where he hit 15 straight. It was reported by Risden. So, you know, it's just up and down. And I think you're getting to a point where you're legitimate Super Bowl contenders, and you can't really afford inconsistency from the kicker position, even though it's hard to nail that position. But again, we always bring it up every time we talk about this. I mean, go back, look at Super Bowl matchups, and look at kickers. Typically, good teams also have good kickers. It's just how it works. You need someone you can rely on, and I just don't know if Badgley's that guy come, you know, on the big stage, especially when you need him to get you a 3 to go up late in the 4th quarter, or it's overtime, and it could be the game. It's just I don't know if I trust him, and I don't think Dan does either, despite Dan being a more aggressive coach. It's just the reality of it. It just is. Ed O'Neill says, I trust Bates against that 55-yarder. Well, it's fair. You know, that is fair. I don't hate that. I don't know. People, Shift God says, Badgley, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. It's aggressive, but he could be right. Tom, you said this, or you put this up earlier. Jake Bates was the last stone in the Lions Infinity Gauntlet. Super Bowl, here we come, boys.
Good.
I do, Jeff. You've had the conversation about these contending teams in the NFL. When you look at these kickers, they have kickers whether you use them or not. Like if Dan Campbell uses a kicker or not. These contending teams that are contending for a Super Bowl year in and year out, they have some of the best kickers throughout the whole entire NFL. And that's what you're looking to have. And you can always upgrade. Michael Badgley, I'm not saying he's hit his ceiling, but we know who he is and what he's going to be. Now, on the other hand, Jake Bates, whether he's inconsistent a little bit and he hasn't really played at that level yet, you know his ceiling is 100 times higher than Michael Badgley's. You know his ceiling is that. His ceiling is probably like one of the best kickers throughout the NFL, like a Brandon Aubrey or a Harrison Butker, like those guys who can make those kicks, those big-time kicks. That's his ceiling. You don't have that in Michael Badgley. So you want to find a guy, whether it works out or not, get a guy in your building that has that ceiling, and if it works out, now you're set. And if it doesn't, now you're just where you were before, and you don't lose anything out of it. Like that's all it is, right? It's you're not losing it. Like there's nothing that loses, and it's a good PR stunt probably here to bring Jake Bates in.
Oh yeah,
that's what the NFL is all about, especially some of these teams.
Jay-Z says, serious talk. I heard Bates got rolled up on in the late game and maybe dealing with an ankle injury. Well, that's something the Lions would be aware of, so at least to some extent. So I'm not too worried about it. He's got some time here to heal up. Depends on how. It really depends on the ankle injury. I mean, ankle injury could be anything. Is it a sprained ankle or is it high sprain? I guess it just depends. I don't know anything about an ankle injury though. So Jay-Z, you might have that over.
I'm sure if they did, I bet you that by the time training camp comes around, it's going to be like, you're good. I don't know. Ankle for a kicker is probably tough, but I'm sure he'll be
fine. Shout out to, is it Sheen Coffin?
Sheen Coffin, baby.
Is that how you pronounce it? Well, regardless, thank you for becoming a Crunch member. We appreciate you. I think that's a new member, as in I've never seen it before. So welcome to the channel. We appreciate you guys. We're about 400 away from 8,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. And as well, I want to make this very clear before we get into all the discussions. And real quick, Jay-Z says Jeff Rizin and Chris on the DLP said it. Yeah, then it's correct. I mean, Jeff and Chris are great. So, yeah.
Real quick, shout out Freddie Felt too, 313, legend, man.
There you go, Freddie Felt. Yeah, shout out to Freddie Felt, man. He's a real one.
He's an OG.
Before we move on here, I know you guys have probably noticed we are now Crunch Time Sports. And that is going to be the name moving forward. That is the brand, Crunch Time Sports, CT Sports, and our ats have changed across most platforms, official CT Sports. So merchandise being updated. If you have it's not really much of a difference if it says with Jeff Iafrate or Booner or whatever it is. I mean, it's all relatively it's all the same logo, but we'll official CT Sports on pretty much everything in Crunch Time Sports going forward. So that's the brand.
Sounds nice. Crunch Time Sports sounds beautiful. It sounds legit. Sounds like sounds very legit. I love it.
So that's
dig it.
That's that's official. So that's what it's going to be across everything. Truth Teller says you guys are saying we got Jake Bates. Please confirm. We did.
It will be official Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's move on here. We got a lot to get to. ESPN's Mike Clay put out something that I saw Amik Robertson retweeted when it was already shared. And ESPN's Mike Clay does this thing every year where he does 2024 NFL projections, like a box score projection. Like he projects the quarterback stats, the running back stats. He projects all this stuff. I think it's based on like averages as well. I don't think there's like, I don't think he personally predicts every single thing. What up, Klotzy?
How we doing, fellas?
Klotzy, real quick before we move on. Jake Bates is a Detroit Lion. What do you think?
Yeah, great Friday. Adam Vinatieri just walked into Allen Park, guys. I mean, the kicker situation solved. No, I'm happy he's in the building. I'm happy that he decided to stay local. To your guys' points, what you were saying earlier, it's probably the best situation for him to be, given that he's in a dome. But I'm not jumping over heads and heels just yet, just because I've seen plenty of kickers who are very successful in college that you could argue there was a more intense situation, more pressure to kicks, and then they fall flat on their face in the NFL. So am I happy that Jake had to join the line? Yes. But it's one of those things where I want to see it first.
Fair, that's fair.
Hey, Klotzy, good thing he didn't kick field goals in college, brother. Can't fall.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, he didn't kick field goals in college, and you would say that there's probably less pressure in the UFL than college. Like when you're in a Power 5 college, game winners. I would agree. I would agree. But
to be fair,
got a leg.
There was a lot of pressure when we were there. We were in attendance. He knew we were there. He saw us. He looked at us and goes, that's Booner over there. And then guess what he did? Kind of folded. He missed the kick.
Yeah.
It was the aura. It was the Booner aura. Just shook.
Man.
Probably because Brady was there.
That Lucas, I don't.
Tom Brady.
You want to wait and see.
Not sales guy Brady.
Easy in the chat. All right, let's get to this. ESPN's Mike Clay. He does these 2024 season projections with like statistics and stuff like that. So let's go through some of them. It's like an entire box score offense defense, and you get to look at some of the stats that he has for this year. And you'll see it all. Don't you worry. You'll see rushing yards and what he thinks everyone will have. I think, again, it's based on average. I don't know, averages, or maybe he's just throwing shit at the wall, seeing if it sticks. But let's look at what he thinks the Lions will do statistically. All right. We love stats, don't we? Just stats are great. So let's look at these stats. We'll start with the offense because I think we'll break that down first. Let me just get this ready for you guys. Okay.
I haven't seen this yet, so I'm interested. I'm very
Yeah,
interested.
it's weird. It's weird, but here we are. We're in June. All right, let's see it. So this is ESPN's Mike Clay. Look at what he had for Jared Goff. So look at Jared Goff.
Okay.
He's got 15 games played. He has Hendon playing in 2. All right. So you see it. All right. Hendon played in 2, 23 TDs, 10 picks, 31 sacks taken, which that is hey, it's fine. Rushing TDs, whatever. But basically a pretty much a step back, I guess, for Jared, based off these projections. Hendon Hooker plays 2 games, good 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Would like to see the win-loss in those games. I don't know why he's hurt, why Jared Goff's hurt. I don't get it.
This is crazy. This is fake, right?
No,
37
he's got
yards.
He's got a whole pamphlet. It's legit.
Booner, how many? Fake. Booner, I'll let you run with it after this. How many yards did Justin Fields throw for last year? Like I'm on like it was probably a little bit less than 3,700, but that is terrible.
Booner,
I don't know if
Jared Goff's line at for passing TDs.
It's 4,000. It's 4,000. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, I know we're going down this whole list here, but just look at the whole list. This is wrong. I don't even know if we should give this time. Honestly, this is embarrassing. From what's his name? Mike Clay.
Mike Clay. ESPN
Mike Clay. I've been on a streak of calling. I'm not going to call him a name. I'm not going to do it. Don't call names, Booner.
Call him a name, Boone.
No, I won't, because maybe we can get him on the show, and I don't want to do it. But this is the dumbest, the worst written article, whatever it is, prediction I've ever seen in my life in football. Should hang his credentials up and never talk football again. 3,700 yards for Jared Goff.
520 attempts.
It's not even disrespectful. It's just how are you like allowed to even talk football? Like, that's the dumbest thing of all time. You literally have 2 running backs on this team who almost eclipsed 1,000 yards last year, and you don't even have either of them going over 900. This guy has no clue what he's talking about. Zero.
Not
clue.
A single player on this roster is playing more than 15 games apparently to this guy. There's no I understand injuries happen, but to everybody, like it's not. Did you see like some are for 9 games and some are for like 17? It's like everybody. You're not playing more than 15 games.
There's no way this is real. This has to be like, I just want to get as many clicks as I can. I know the Detroit Lions fans will run with things. Let me just give every single one of them the lowest thing. Like this is unbelievable. This is a team that had Ben Johnson's returning. First of all, Ben Johnson's coming back, buddy. Like, come on, bud. Like, what are we doing here? Ben Johnson's coming back. You just had a top 5 offense back-to-back years, and you're telling me that this is what's going to happen. Okay, it's terrible. Terrible reporting.
Jared, 520 attempts in 15 games. Okay, so if you do that math, it's 34 attempts a game.
But he's not throwing for 4,000 yards. Good luck. Good luck with that.
That is wild. So no, this is all. I mean, we'll just go to the defense real quick. I just thought
how many yards? Hold on. How many yards? 3,700. Let me name to you. Derek Carr had 3,800 last year. Sam Howell had 3,900 last year. No offense, Klotz. I'm just throwing that out there. Baker Mayfield had 4,000. I mean, Gardner Minshew had 3,300. I mean, you're saying he had Geno Smith 3,615 games. This is embarrassing for him. And like I don't even want to keep going.
Hey, that guy up north says crunch time. You should all make your own stat sheet like this. Could be good offseason.
Maybe we come together as a team and we make our own like a crunch time one big one.
We'll each make a doc.
We just take the averages of what we all say.
Look at the defense. The defense.
Oh, we're missing someone.
Who?
Betts. Where's
the
Betts?
fuck is 0.4 of a sack?
Half a sack.
It's got to be averages. I mean, Aleem 5 sacks, DJ 2-3, whatever. Kyle Pecco.
Levi, half a sack.
Yeah, Aiden with 10. I mean, this is just.
Wait, how many total sacks does he have for the team? Can you go to the very bottom? Does it show it at the very bottom? 43.
That would be 43. 43.
Tackles.
Yeah, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. I don't even want to give this any time. Mike Clay.
I mean, we could break it down a little bit more.
No,
I mean,
there's nothing to break down. No.
all right. I mean, they're just one of the more embarrassing articles I've ever seen. We should
This
get
is
Mike
just
Clay
bad.
on, and when we should like when he comes on, we should just attack him.
I mean, he had the
You wouldn't even
DB
call him
as
a
the
name, but you want to attack him when we bring him on?
Okay, I'll call him a name. He's a loser.
Call him a name.
Oh no.
I know. I called someone a loser the other day, and someone commented and was like, "How about this grown man who makes less money than these players calling them losers?" Well, when you lose a football game, you technically are a loser. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
To be fair, I mean, it fits his narrative because Mike Clay, I see on here his worst part of the team in terms of position. It's a big red colored number is DB. So, yeah, that's it. And then he also has projected wins 10.6.
Can you pull it back up, please? I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep.
I thought okay. All right, let's pull it back up.
There's just one thing. Sorry, I apologize. Can you go to the defensive lineman?
No Matty Betts, Boone.
Aiden Hutchinson. You're telling me Aiden Hutchinson's going to regress this year? What are we doing? Like 10.5 sacks for Aiden Hutchinson. He just had 11. What are we doing here?
And
Aleem having less sacks than last year.
Yeah,
With DJ Reader.
If this is how it looks, we got a lot of things we got to reconsider here. Okay, there's a lot of things we got to reconsider. Kind of like this take that was put out by Marc Ryan that works for 97.1. I actually like Mark. I don't think he's a bad guy. I mean, he's had some takes that, he's putting out on the airwaves, not on the airwaves necessarily, but on Twitter. I don't really listen much to 97.1, but he's put some stuff on Twitter that's caused some controversy. And he put something on there and he knew he was stirring the pot, man, when he put this out. And I'm going to show you guys the tweet. We didn't get to it yesterday, but man, I want to see our chat's reaction to it. So basically, Marc Ryan put out this. And again, you got to think Marc Ryan's not from Detroit. Okay, so he works for 97.1, but he's from a different state. He's coming in, and this is what he notices about the Lions hanging up an NFC North banner. He says, "Got to be honest, a massive banner downtown for winning a 4-team division misses the mark for me. I know the history, 4-time to win a division, first since it's become the North. Barry Sanders is always acting like he's been there before. This isn't that. Save it for the Super Bowl."
Oh my God.
All right.
Oh,
I'll let one of you guys go first because I have something on this, and I'll let you guys, and then I'll.
And he went through and listed division titles, which I like. No one's surprised. I mean, okay, yeah, this is Minnesota, Green Bay. We get it. All right. And he put this AI response on Google. No, the Green Bay Packers do not hang division championship banners at Lambeau Field. According to Mike McCarthy and Brian Gutekunst, the Packers general manager, division titles are not the main goal in Green Bay. I remember when he said that too. We broke it down on this show. But I'll ask you fellas, take it away. Where are you at where Detroit sports fans are? We'll just start with Lions fans with their expectations. When does that rise to celebrating divisions to eventually trying to celebrate a Super Bowl win when they get that? Where are you guys at?
I don't think divisions will be celebrated after this year. It's just been so long, and now they finally got that off their shoulder. I think like it just had to be done. I mean, these Lions fans were so excited all this year. Obviously, we fell short in the NFC Championship game, but we had one of the best seasons, if not one of the probably one of the best seasons ever in this franchise. So just for the fans being hyped after so many years being down, it really doesn't matter. Like, I don't think they're going to be doing this moving forward. It's not going to be a year-by-year thing if they keep winning the North. But for 1 year, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the city of Detroit has not had winning specifically in football, but then you look outside of it. I mean, we know we talk about the Pistons all the time, just how they're a complete joke. Gentry, no offense, the Red Wings haven't been really anything significant in the last couple of years. And same thing with the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers, especially at the beginning of last year, looked horrid. So this whole city is just deprived of sports happiness. And especially when the Lions have, I would say, their best season in the team's history. Yeah, you're going to celebrate it because times are different, and you got to build the culture within the city. You got to let the city know that there's a winner here again. And I think when you do that, you have the Jared Goff chance, you have the draft here. It's just building a winning mentality for the team, and it's building the culture with the Lions. So if you hate it, I'm sorry, but that's also what's helping us stay alive with the fans being excited. If there's not stuff like that, fans aren't as happy. They don't care as much about the Lions. We don't get paid, yada, yada, yada. So shut up. Just shut up.
Interesting. Boys.
Yeah, to me,
I do want to say one thing too. Isn't that the same guy that was cheering for the Tigers being mid and being 500 and
yeah, it was
the most mediocre team in the MLB and
so,
their entire hitting being dog shit? So that's okay. He's okay with the Tigers being mid, but he's not okay with the championship banner being hung from.
So from his perspective, he comes in, he sees it, and he goes, that's weird. You know, you have to really be, I'm not trying to gatekeep, but I am gatekeeping. You really got to be from this city, or at least be a Lions fan for a long period of time to understand how much that banner means. Like this, oh my gosh, what people have had to endure, what people have had to watch for most of their lifetime. And he brought up at the end, Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders would even approve of them hanging up the banner. So don't bring Barry into this. He's not backing you up either. All right. The Lions can enjoy this moment. What I will say, like Gentry said, there will be a point in time where you're winning divisions and you don't have to hang them up. But a 30-year drought, to me, is worth celebrating. I mean, it's not just the division, it's what that division represents. It's an organization that finally has learned how to be competent. That's what that banner represents. And the Lions doing so, I think, let the fans enjoy this moment. Not just this moment, but this period of time where the Lions are actually relevant. So I think this was a reach by Mark. I get what he was trying to do. It just completely missed. Saying that, they should have higher expectations. They think the Lions will go out and win a Super Bowl. That's what's expected. But again, the banner isn't just, yay, we won the NFC North. Like it's our what? No, they expect to control this division. And I think eventually the division won't mean as much when the Lions fully, are able to celebrate multiple division wins. It's the first one in quite some time. The Packers, of course, they don't celebrate divisions. They had a Hall of Fame quarterback and they were running through the NFC North, so in other teams as well, they've been good. They've had times where their teams were successful and won their division. The Lions have not. So I have no problem with the Lions hanging up a banner, as of right now. Now, if we're 10 years down the line and the Lions have a couple divisional wins and they're still hanging up banners, it's like, okay, guys, let's get past it. But right now, absolutely not. I have no issue with it.
So this is where I'm going to go with it. And you guys know me. I have been the biggest supporter. I've been the Booner, all of that. You guys already know where I stand when it comes to the Detroit Lions and the support and everything with it. First of all, the expectations in that tweet saying that, hey, the expectations should be higher. If you were here 12 months ago, this time last year, the expectation was never Super Bowl 12 months ago for the Detroit Lions. The expectation was, let's get our first division, our first NFC North ever. And and again, Marc Ryan, I follow him on Twitter, fan of Marc Ryan. I have listened a little bit, follow his tweets. Not saying this in a bad way, but you weren't here 12 months ago when the expectations were different. You're here 12 months later, now that the expectations is Super Bowl. That's when things change. Things were not there was no Super Bowl expectations 12 months ago. It was, let's get to the playoffs, let's win a playoff game, let's win the division. That was the expectation. We haven't done that in 30, 40 years. So the fact that you get it done, and the Detroit Lions, not just the Detroit Lions, the city of Detroit, the fans, everyone involved for the last 40, 50 years, all of those guys involved, we're waiting for that. Jeff, I see what you're doing down there. Lock in. All these guys were involved. Everyone deserves a banner. Everyone deserves to see what's going on in the signs here in Detroit. That is everyone deserves that. If you have not gone through that for 40 years, you don't deserve to even have a comment on it. Now I'm going to say this going forward. Jeff, you said a couple years. You said, maybe in a couple years, 10 years down the line, you can stop paying. The expectation going forward is that there is no more NFC North banners hung in the city of Detroit. No more. That was the last one that gets hung, in my opinion. You are a Super Bowl contending football team now. Winning the NFC North means nothing anymore. You just went to an NFC Championship game and you lost. You blew a 17-point lead. Guess what that is now? Now you're trying to get to the Super Bowl. That is all that matters going forward now, is going to a Super Bowl and winning that. Do not I would love to stack up NFC North championships. Would love it. You already did it. We said that was your expectation. That was step one of building. That was step one of the tear down and rebuild, is to go win an NFC North. Doesn't matter anymore. You did it. Just like Jeff last year when we got in that argument, when you were like, I just want that playoff win. All right, playoff win, got that. We're done. Super Bowl now. There should be no more NFC North banners hung. It should be strictly NFC championships and Super Bowls going forward. So that's where I'm at with it. I think it's perfectly fine. I think I took a picture of that 4 months ago and posted it on Crunch Time 4 months ago, that same exact thing. And everyone loved it as soon as it went up. Like, the city embraced it because you just won the first NFC North ever. So like there should be none of that conversation. Like if this would have happened 12 months down the line and you won a second NFC North championship and you went and lost the NFC championship again, then I would sit there and be like, yeah, maybe I'm on his side a little. Maybe like, let's focus on winning the Super Bowl because we know where we're at now as an organization. So yeah, that's just where I think that's exactly what it is now. I think, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me that now the expectations is winning a Super Bowl. So those banners don't even matter anymore. But let the fans, let the people, let the team, let the organization, let the city enjoy winning a historic season at that. That was a historic season. And last thing I want to say here too. The only thing I don't like, there are a lot of people that did go at Mark because of that comment. I will say this, and I don't know where you guys are at with this. A lot of the comments are like, oh, you're not even from Detroit. I don't mind having an outside voice from Detroit. The thing I don't like is saying whether like you shouldn't be able to enjoy this. Like you shouldn't be able to hang these and enjoy it. The outside voice of saying, hey, fellas, like the expectation going forward is this now. It's good to have an outside voice of people outside of Detroit to say, hey, this is, I mean, because obviously we've been losing for the last 50 years. It's new to us.
I think winning and this is the only two things I think it applies to say, like, for example, the Steelers. I'm sure the Steelers don't hang division banners. I'm sure the Packers obviously don't. Oh, speaking of ESPN in the background. I'm sure that the Steelers don't hang division banners. Like these teams that have won Super Bowls, I'm sure they don't hang division banners. The Lions aren't that. The NFC North means a lot. But once you get to a point where you're rattling off NFC North division titles, and let's say they win a Super Bowl, I think that's when division titles, you're not hanging them up. You're hanging up.
I think you just stop hanging them up now. No teams in the NFL do it after you. Like the reason we did it, and I'm pretty sure they took the ones down in Allen Park. It's just they did it because it was the first time in 40 years. I don't think it's like a consistent thing around the NFL. That's why I'm like, now that we've done it and we got to like, that's not a ban. That banner's going to be down before the season starts. I'll guarantee you that. That banner changes every 6 months. I worked in that building. It changes every 6 months. So it's like a sign being like, congratulations, you guys want like.
Yeah, which they deserve.
Yeah.
They deserve. They will get to a point. They'll get to a point. Run the NFC North for a decade. Half a decade. Maybe string off a Super Bowl, and then we can start talking about, okay, now screw these divisions. We got a Super Bowl. That's what we're hanging. That's what you're hanging up. So eventually you're not going to hang up 15, 10 divisions.
To Adam's point, winning the division is key to the playoff success. No, duh. Like you get a home field, you get a home game, and you're a top 4 seed if you win the division. That's a fact. That makes sense. But once you get to a certain point, and like once you're winning divisions and you win the first one after a big drought, you don't need to sit there and like keep putting banners. Like I'm not gonna say like I want a Super Bowl. Like I'm not content with the division anymore. I want a Super Bowl. And if anyone in the chat disagrees with me, put it in there right now because I bet you every single one of you want a Super Bowl. The Bucks every single year aren't just putting banners up for winning like the Atlantic division or whatever division they're in and getting the one seed every year. Like, you know what I mean? There's a point. Like the reason this is a conversation is because they put the sign up, and the sign was up because they won the first division in 30-something years in the first NFC North ever. That sign's going to come down, and if they win it next year, they're not going to put another sign up. Like this isn't like a permanent banner. They're taking it down. Like this conversation's stupid. It's dumb. You're not putting banners up every year for a division. Now it's Super Bowl time. If you're going to sit here and tell me that you would rather have a NFC North banner than a Super Bowl banner,
You guys are arguing. He's arguing something different.
And Adam's over here arguing with me like I said it's fine. I like that they put the banner up. Open your ears, old man.
No.
Oh man,
He's a father now. I apologize.
Oh, man.
No one
Adam's
is
old,
arguing the
I was
importance
excited
of
to see the
winning
banner
the
up. I took a
NFC
picture
North.
of it.
No one is arguing the importance of winning the NFC North. What we're arguing is there will be a time where winning the NFC North, it's always going to be important. But in terms of hanging up banners, you want to hang up that Super Bowl banner. Like
That's
you're not
all I
hang
want.
Yeah. So
And I'm with
that's
Boone. Like after this year.
Yeah,
Like,
no
after
one's
this year, it's
discussing
chopped.
whether or not the NFC North
Okay.
support. Of course, you want to win your division. Yeah,
Yeah, I just saw people are still saying like, oh, we should do it next year and the year after and the year after. I'm like, I'm fine with this. Like the banner was a celebratory thing. You haven't won one in 36 years. It was like, yes, we did it, boys. Let's go. And like put a banner up in every part of the city.
Yeah,
like that was the dumb part of him complaining about that. Like, what are we complaining about that for? You weren't here 12 months ago. All right, I'm sorry. Rant's over.
Yeah, see, Adam agrees. No one's saying it. Do it every year. Okay, so he agrees.
Okay, I'm
Let's
confused
get
on
to
what
that
he was
point.
saying.
Let's get
he
to
put
that
in the
point.
chat.
Yeah,
He said,
no,
"Booner, you're making me puke."
Yeah, obviously we got to get to that point. But hey, Marc Ryan, he caught a lot of heat. I think that post in total has like 80 something quote tweets of just people ripping him apart. So
yeah, that was probably not one for him to. I don't hate his like outside perspective. Yeah, I don't think
he stood on business though. He stood on business.
Kudos to him.
It's like
man.
flannel. You see flannel today?
Yeah,
was
Flannel's
hilarious.
going at it with
Nope.
Jazz. I mean,
Chisholm.
he's a dog, absolute dog.
Shout out,
Flannel is.
Flannel.
You know who else is a dog? Is Big Low. Mm-hmm. Big Low.
Who?
Lomas Brown.
Who? Lomas Brown. Oh yeah. Say Lomas Brown.
Yeah, Big Low. Mm-hmm.
Big Low.
Is that what they call
Don't
him?
be calling that man Big Low. No one calls him Big Low. Stop calling that man
I've
Big
never heard of
Low.
it.
Yeah,
Never
Big
heard of
Low.
it.
He spoke to
Low.
Wood TV. He was at a charity golf outing, and he had some comments on the Detroit Lions. One about Brad Holmes and the possibility of a team potentially trying to poach him in the future away from the Lions. And also, he talked about comparing this Lions team, this past Lions team, to when he played, when they made the NFC Championship game. Well, you did. I can't believe you were like Big Low. Put some respect on Big Low, all right? Next time.
Put some respect on Big Low. I call him just Lomas. I mean, there's only one Lomas Brown in this world. That's all you got to say.
I mean, I only know one Lomas. So you just say Lomas.
There you go. Let's get to this clip again. Give credit to
Big
Wood TV
Low.
for this, but let's hear Lomas, Big Low.
I would love you to call him that in person. I would love to hear what you say.
Hey, Big Low.
Hey, Big Low. Jeff Iafrate here, Hollywood.
Have you guys ever met? I'm sure you guys have probably all met Lomas, right?
I have not.
Once.
I have not.
His hands are fucking gigantic. Like I've never, like I shook his hand and it felt like I was like my 8-year-old nephew or something shaking my, like it was, I felt like a child.
Yeah, he's
We
a
need to
nicest
get
guy in
Lomas
the
on the
world,
show.
yeah.
We need to get him on the
He's
show.
a great dude. I don't think I've ever seen him pissed. At least post career, he's just always happy. I mean, look at him talk about the Lions. He absolutely loves them. So let's hear Lomas on comparing this team to when he played. Let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, this is the one franchise that's been here for the entirety of the Super Bowl era that hasn't been there.
Yes.
Do you break down the wall this year?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I thought we got it last year. I thought we were going to break it down last year, but now I think these guys have the experience. I know how it was when I played in my first NFC Championship game. I mean, your eyes are wide open. You don't know what's going on. I think now that they have the experience, when they get back to that big stage again, they'll handle it a lot differently.
You were on that first team to make it to the NFC Championship game. Then you got to call this one. Are there similarities between these two, or what is it about this team that's made it so special?
You know what? It is some similarities, but I just think this team, they're not carrying the baggage from the past. They're forging their own pathway, and that's what I enjoy. I think we might have carried some of the baggage of some of the teams that never got an opportunity, that didn't get there. But I think this team, they're so young, they don't care, and they're so carefree. So I think with the combination of Dan, and they got a great leader in Dan Campbell. I mean, he is such a great guy, and he's the right person to lead that team. So, yeah, I think similar in certain ways, but I think these guys are forging their own path.
It seems like after you guys won that NFC Championship game, it wasn't long before a lot of the locker room leaders were gone.
Yes.
This time they're locking them up.
Yes.
How important is that?
Oh, that's so important because you're right about that. I remember me and Spielman leaving in 1995. And guys like Kevin Glover, Benny Blaze, Mel Gray. I mean, some of the staple guys that helped build that organization. To me, I think this window was open at least 4 to 5 more years because, like you said, they signed their young guys. They got them under contract. And some of these impact guys, I've never been on the team where I've seen some of the young guys come in and make such a big impact early. And that's what's going on with this team. So, yes, I think this window should be open at least 4 more years.
4 years. You heard low? 4 years. And
wow.
Hey,
Love that.
The comparison, the question about comparing this team to when he played, that was the big thing with that Lions team is all the players. I mean, you watch the documentary about Barry, which was a great watch, by the way, but they went into that, how after they had that run, a lot of players departed and they weren't able to keep key players. And that's kind of been the opposite of what the Lions have been doing. I mean, they made an NFC title game and they re-signed like some integral parts of their football team, re-signed them. So, hey, he's right. And the Lions are doing it differently, which goes back to that banner discussion. It kind of celebrating the brand new Lions, which are a competent organization. Which is
the end of that whole interview, him saying the 4-year window. Like, I think that's the biggest question that everyone has with the Lions. It's like, how is Brad Holmes building this? And every single time, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, every time you saw one of these extensions come through online, a lot of the comments I saw, there's like half of people like, yeah, let's go. And then the other half, like with Jared Goff, it's like, oh no, like now you just pay, like you just close that window up a little because you know, now your money tied to someone. And I think, like, to Lomas's point, like, this window is a 4-year gap. And then not even just that, right before he said that, he mentioned how so many new guys and rookies come in instantly and make an impact on this football team, to where when you do pay guys like Jared Goff and Amon-Ra Panay, like, now you're just getting new guys in here and all of them are finding success. It's not like just a couple guys. You literally just paid multiple guys that you drafted and found success and won in the very, very late rounds. Now you're able to be like, hey, this window's very, very well open for the next 4 years. I remember before the Goff contract, fellas, what did I tell you? The window, 5-year window. Go get me 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years. That was my big talking point, was like, this window is way more open than people think. And there was a conversation the day after losing the NFC Championship game of people saying, oh no, is the window closed? Is next year the only window you have? No, this thing is like Brad Holmes, Chris Spielman. They have built this thing for like this is one of those windows that is a sliding door window. This isn't a small car door window. This is a sliding door window. This thing's wide open for the next 4 years.
Yeah, another interesting thing he talked about was just like how they are going to recover from last year, and how like this group of guys, these young guys, are kind of just ready to put their head down and work and get back to that point. Obviously, with the tough loss to San Fran, but these guys are ready to hit the ground running and get right back to where they were. And he's spoke to how the young guys are really like have that mentality. So like that's a really good thing. And how he spoke that the young guys are making an immediate impact. So to have your roster built, the nucleus is really young players, and they get that moment early on in their career. It's great.
That's it, especially when Lomas was talking about how important it is that the key players are staying here. That's why I got so agitated that one tweet one time when it talked about all the teams that made it to the NFC Championship game and never returned, like that Atlanta Falcons team with Julio. When you have all those contracts leaving, when you have all those key players departing, then yes, I can understand where you can see the downfall of the Detroit Lions and why that's going to be SOL again. I could see that situation. But when you are keeping all these same players, and like Lomas said, just stuttered like a motherfucker there, my God. But like Lomas said, when you have all these young players that are playing at Pro Bowl level caliber, all pro level caliber, and Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown, this thing isn't going anywhere. They could have a down year with injuries, get hit by an injury bug, and I still believe this team the following year would recover and go right back to the same form, because what does that mean? They're probably have a down record. They're probably get better draft picks. So that's another way that they could reload talent that's already there. So this team's not going anywhere, and I think it's a little bit ignorant for you just to look at a roster and say, oh, They made it to the NFC Championship game. They're not getting back. I could see where you're talking about, okay, they'll probably get to the divisional round. But you look at the Cincinnati Bengals. The reason why they were so good, especially offensively, they had really good young players. You look at San Francisco when they recovered and they brought in Kyle Shanahan. You look at Deebo Samuel and George Kittle on rookie contracts. That was huge for them. Fred Warner on rookie contracts. That's huge for them. The Lions have that same type of situation going on. So I think it's just going to be a probably 4, 5, even 6-year window of the Detroit Lions cooking.
And it's crazy, too. I mean, the Lions have had great players. I mean, they've had a wide receiver, the receiving yard record holder in Calvin Johnson, one of the greatest, I would say the second greatest wide receiver of all time. And you have Barry, who's unquestioned the GOAT. And then you have Matthew Stafford, who he'll be a Hall of Famer. I mean, say what you want about him, but he'll be a Hall of Famer. And they just have not been able to build around these players. I mean, the most success they had was with Barry, and they didn't ultimately win a Super Bowl, obviously, and they have not yet to win one or make one. But they have an organization now that builds correctly. They know how to build a roster, and that comes from the top down. That's credit to Sheila for a lot of that. I mean, they've had great players, just never amounted to any success. But you look at what Lomas said. I want to break this down. He said 4 years. And when I watched this, I'm like, why would he say 4 years? And the only theory I have on this is, and I could be just reaching here, but this is my takeaway, and I want your guys' thoughts. And we'll get to some comments because I got a couple saved here we can break down. 4 years, you got some young guys that are going to have to get paid in 4 years, close to. So I would assume, but Brad at the same time continues to draft really well. So if you do that, then you could replace guys. But do you think that has any relation to what he said? Is with Sam Laporta and all these guys, Brian Branch, and these guys coming up for contracts in the next 4 years? You think there's anything related to that, or you think he was just saying 4 years? Because I think those two things could be correlated with all the players that are up for contracts. You think it's just 4 years? I
think literally he was just like 4 years. Because
wouldn't you say it'll be open for a while? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think he was just I don't think he was looking that deep into. I know like it's your job to kind of look into it that deep, but I don't think you. I bet you in 4 years, because it's like at the end of the day, you're gonna have to pay guys, but it's literally what I was saying before. It's like if Brad Holmes keeps drafting the way he is, that window is just going to keep extending and extending and extending. And like when you look at some teams that are elite, a lot of those players, like look at the Rams that won a Super Bowl. You have an older Matthew Stafford, an old Aaron Donald, Jalen, what's his name, Ramsey, that ends up leaving because he's getting older in the contract. Like there's a lot of players like that. Odell that was old. This Lions team, even with these young guys they signed, how many guys on that top 25, under 25 did they have on that list? Like 6 or 7 guys. Like they stacked it up. And that's not even taking into account who Brad Holmes drafts this year, next year, the year after, whether you have to get rid of guys or not. Like that window, that's why I think the window is kind of unlimited right now. Like, yeah, 4 years with the contracts that you just signed, because those are 4-year contracts, 5-year contract extensions. So I think that's like a good like viewpoint. But going forward, like that can just keep getting pushed back depending on some of these guys working out. Like keeping Brian Branch, the Jack Campbell. Like how do these guys work out? Sam Laporta. You're gonna have to get rid of some guys, but again, you're gonna consistently keep drafting more. So it's gonna help out.
I agree.
I think there's some legitimacy to it, just because, I mean, how many NFL teams have dominated for a decade or even 6 years or 7 years? So I think when you look at this roster right now, to Booner, your point, you can only see 4 year down the line with the contracts, but it's super hard, especially with what these players are going to be doing in those contract years, to stay at the top for that long. So even if it is for 4 years, I'd be thrilled with that, because there's not many teams that can dominate the NFL like I think the Detroit Lions are going to be able to do. So it's going to be a hell of a run. Like, I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were dominant for a decade, but there was years where they were 9-8, when they were 10-6. And same thing with the Packers. There were years when they won the division at 9-7. I always think as long as Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and Sheila are running this team, that it's going to be functional. So, but at that time, there's also going to be years where there's a dip in the roster. So with this roster right now, it's sky high, but I don't think it's fair to just think that it's always going to be this way, especially when they're going to be winning consistently.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Lomas went into Brad Holmes a little bit, talked about it, the importance of Brad Holmes, what he means to this organization, and why he hopes the team doesn't poach him away, which I've actually never heard that. But let's hear Lomas on Brad Holmes.
GM is Brad Holmes.
Oh, Man, he is the best. Look, we're going to have to keep teams from trying to poach him. I'm telling you, man, because when you have success, people want to duplicate it, and the only way they can is kind of to get the architect that set it out. Man, he is phenomenal, and I love his energy, man. His energy is there. His passion is there for the team. Man, he's a great guy. He's always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody else, and I think that's the magic sauce to Brad Holmes.
He said the magic sauce. I love Lomas, man. He's such a great dude. And he put in there, hope no team tries to poach him. We've seen that in the NFL, by the way. I don't think it'll happen with Brad, in all seriousness.
What examples are there? Because that would be nuts.
I don't even want to think about losing Brad Holmes. And to his point, Brad is by far one of the most passionate GMs in the entire league. I mean, we've seen it throughout the playoffs and throughout the end of the season. So that's 100% facts.
I would be shocked for how passionate and how much Brad has now came into Detroit and has loved the city of Detroit. You see him like in the elevator screaming, running across, opposing fields, high-fiving Lions fans. Like, you see all of that. I would be so shocked to see Brad Holmes leave Detroit. Like, just for like,
mad.
Yeah, and like for him to leave for another job just to keep doing what he's doing here. Like, I think I would be absolutely shocked. And as well too, there's no way Sheila doesn't just throw him the bag if he's getting poached from somewhere else. Like that would be the quickest way for a city and a fan base to turn on an owner is if something like that happened and she just didn't offer him enough. That would be crazy.
I would single-handedly try to burn down the city. I would be so mad.
We would be in Allen Park.
Where life isn't fair. I'd feel like a family member died or something. It just would not like. Could you imagine getting that notification on your phone?
I would chain myself to the front door of Allen Park until they get Brad Holmes back. You will see me handcuffed to the front door in Allen Park until they fix that.
Dude, I was gonna ask the reaction, but that's fair.
And I'll just admit it because I'm honest. That would start a deep hatred for Brad Holmes if he left. I would be so backstabbed. I don't. But yeah, if he left,
LeBron, it's different.
Oh,
with LeBron,
it would depend on the situation. It would depend on the situation.
Yeah, well, that's player to. Okay, relax. All right, player to GM. I would appreciate what he built, but man, I'd be so butthurt about that. I'm just being honest. I would be so butthurt, but he's not leaving. I think No, go on.
Especially seeing another franchise get him and then brag about having him in their franchise for the future. That would be the worst part. Seeing another team brag on Twitter, their fan base, everything. Oh, that'd be a sad day.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's just, man, it's good. Hey, imagine this conversation. All right, the last decade before, more than that, before Brad Holmes. All right, imagine maybe a team will come in and get Martin Mayhew. Yeah, it's like
Jeff
Bob Quinn. Can I intrigue you?
Yeah,
Bob Quinn.
Imagine Bob Quinn. You'd be like, yeah, you take him. Don't let the door hit you.
We'll pay you. We'll pay you to take.
Yeah, we'll pay you to take him off our hands.
We'll pay his salary as long as you keep him. And we'll as long as he's gone. Do you?
That'd be terrible.
He says losing Brad would be like watching your ex become a porn star. I mean, that.
I had it first. That's all you can say.
No, he did. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what, Diggity Dog? I don't think you're too far off. I think that'd be it. Both of them are kind of a mind fucking, but at least to your point, Lucas, you're like, well, I already know. But I'm upset still. Hey, I'm still upset. Damn. You know what? I'm not upset though, fellas, because it's 9:00 on a Friday. And to all the 150 plus of you tuning in live, we got 170 in here roughly. Man, hit the like button. It really does. It supports the channel. And subscribe if there's anyone new in here. We post content every single day, man. We don't play around. But you know what? Today is Friday, and what we've been doing every Friday, we've been consistent. You were here last week, Lucas. You were handling some business. But today you get to experience the over-under segment we do on Fridays.
Wait, Jeff. I'm not going to forget about Booner. Booner, we have your question, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Booner question, actually. Let's do that for a segment here.
We do the question before the segment.
We have 2 Friday segments.
I thought that's why Booner was giving that look, so I tried to.
I was giving the look because Jeff was. So I was giving the look because Jeff was like, Jeff was like, we have a Friday segment. We've been very consistent. And I'm like, dude, we started it last
We did it
week.
one time.
Yeah, like
That's why I thought it was the Booner question. I was like, how did I miss it or something? Like,
No,
I thought that was only 1 week.
we've got 2 new Friday segments. Fridays with
fucking guys?
Booner and
I mean,
over under
seriously,
Friday.
go on.
All right, fellas. This is one
Ask
that
your
we're
damn question.
This is one where you guys are gonna have to think a little bit, and you
Oh.
might have to. And this is one that in the future, this is gonna be a follow-up question too. That we're gonna do a segment on this in a couple weeks before the season starts. This is, and I think some people are like this. I know Michael Lucci's in the chat. He might like this because I do watch his content on Twitter. Jeff, why don't you let me do my thing here, huh? I see you in the background.
I'm not controlling this. All right, go back. Booner, answer your damn question.
My question is, on both sides of the ball for the Detroit Lions this year, I want to know the Detroit Lions will have blank all-pro players. All-pro, not Pro Bowlers, all-pro. And I want you to name who they are. When you can pull up a depth chart on your own computers over there. I'm going to let you guys answer first. I'm not going to give them away. So I want you guys to go first, but you guys blank all-pro players for the Detroit Lions.
So are we starting on one side of the ball? You said we're starting.
You could do. I want both because I want to know total on the team.
Yeah, both.
How many you think? So both.
Boone, you should do like a trivia question during this as well. Like a future and then a past question.
That's actually what I thought it was at first when you were.
No. I'm just gonna keep
trivia.
Booner's question. It's supposed to be like a make you guys think a little bit. I did this on the old show I was on. I'd bring one a week, and it got people thinking. Last week's you missed last week's, Klotzy. Last week's was good.
And this can be all pro in general, right? There's no
all
we're not doing
pro.
specifics. Okay, I'm gonna.
I don't know how else to explain that. Just all pro.
Damn, man, I'm getting just absolutely okay. You know what? Someone else go. All right,
I'll
take the
go.
heat off me for a second.
Oh, Jeff's getting mad.
Take the heat off.
4. There could be more. I don't know. I was debating 4 or 5, but Laporta, St. Brown, Hutch, and Panay.
All right. Real quick, Boone, before I
Did
go,
I forget someone, Boone?
or anybody,
You did.
how many all-pro defensive ends are there each year? Because we're talking about first, second team, so there'd be what, 4?
1, 2. Well, it's a weird because there's edge rushers. So edge rusher, defensive end, and then they also do outside linebacker, like the outside linebackers last year was Micah Parsons, TJ Watt.
Okay.
Defensive edge was Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, and Max Crosby. And then edge rusher was Myles Garrett again, TJ Watt again, Micah, and Max Crosby.
All right, here's mine then.
So I feel like they combine them a little bit.
Offensively, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then we're going to go Panay. Then we'll go Jameer. Then I'm trying. I don't know if I want to do Laporta or not. I think he could be another we'll do Laporta. Defensively, I'll go Hutch and that's it. Then I'm going to go Jack Fox. Go 6.
Ooh, forgot about Jack.
I like that. Jeff?
So all pro, you're me for special team. You're
Brother, if I have to explain all pro to you one more time.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Lucas. All right, Jesus.
Yeah, that's what just because he's been in those talks before for sure.
I love it. Jeff gets
all right, so technically Germ. Well, no, he's a Pro Bowler, right? Was he all pro?
Yeah. I don't think they have they have kick returner, I think, all pro.
Germ was an all pro player last year. He was a
All
special
right,
teamer. That was the
I got 7.
Okay.
I got 7 in totality. All right. I got on offense, I got 4. I got Panay, Amon-Ra, Frank, and Sam Laporta. Okay. So similar as this year. I think they'll be all pros again. The only one I'm worried about a little is Frank, to be honest. I don't know but I think Frank will still be one of the best centers. Yeah. So I'm going to go 4 on offense. I'm going to go 2 on defense. I'm going to go Aiden Hutchinson and Brian Branch. I think those 2 are all pros. And then for special teams, I'm going to go I'm going to go Germ. I'm going to go with my man Germ. I'm going to go Germ again. I think Germ goes out there and you know what? He shows out again. One of the best special teamers in the league. So I think he's all pro. So I'll go 7.
I'm with you on Branch. I should have said Branch too.
That was my 5th. But I did forget about Gibbs.
I'll go
and
Branch.
I wasn't doing
I'd have
special
7
teams.
as well.
I didn't have Gibbs.
I know. I didn't expect that out of you. Don't you worry. That doesn't
Wait, did Booner answer?
No, I did not.
Booner has not went.
Go on, Boone.
So what were all your guys's? Jeff 7?
I had 7.
7.
7 across the board, and Gentry said 6.
No, I had 4, but I'm gonna do 5. Branch was the one I left out, but I'm putting him in. I don't give a fuck.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do this then. Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs. No, I actually take that. I'm gonna go Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs / Sam Laporta, one of the two. I'm gonna go Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Hutch. I'm gonna go one of the other, another defender, whether it's Anzo, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Carlton Davis. It's gonna be another secondary, another.
You got to pick.
No, I don't, because it's a number.
It'll pop it out.
You just named
No, I
half the
said
defense.
is the question was the Detroit Lions will have blank all pro players. So I'm counting here. You guys are the ones that did the players. I'm just counting.
Yeah,
So I
because
have to pick.
we're getting in.
You
We're
said
getting
to name the players.
No, I said blank all
all
pro
right,
players.
hey, whatever's
So,
more simple.
Sam
do
Laporta
whatever.
or Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Hutch, another defensive player, Germ, and Jack Fox. I'm gonna go 8. I'm gonna say
I do agree with this.
That was a soft answer, Booner. Like I like
not
the
soft.
number,
I literally
but
just named them all. The question was how many all pro players. I didn't say
one
who
defensive
did all.
player, Sam Laporta
I
or
think there's gonna
Jahmyr
be another
Gibbs.
defensive player. You guys, just
I'm
said
not
listen.
mad at you. Who do you think it's
You
going
said
to be?
it's
Do you think
soft.
it's Anzo?
I don't know.
But give me a player.
Oh my gosh, this is
I want a name.
Yeah.
No, I said 8. I think there's going to be 8.
Jeff.
I'm just happy.
Come
Hey,
on.
Where's the button?
I'm not.
I'm booing you, Boone.
hey,
Yeah,
it's
I don't know how to beat people.
hey.
Now get back in here, Boone. Where are you going? Where
Uh,
are you going?
I mean, I tried to do something good, and last week it went well. Now we're trying to come at it was a good question. Answer the question.
we
Don't
all
make
named.
it bad.
It was a great
You don't
question.
have to. You don't have to. He doesn't have to. Booner, you don't have
It was
to.
a great question, Boone. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that. That
you
was a
don't
great
have to.
question.
I'll be okay. Well, let's start the show.
No.
We'll just do us. All right. Well, we
Booner,
named ours.
Booner, I know you can hear
oh,
me
he's
right
back.
now. I was
Oh,
about to
okay.
say you better come back. You don't miss the betting
What are we
segment.
doing here? What are we doing here? Go on. What are we doing?
Fucking.
You guys just don't follow directions.
What are you? We added a nice
Dan
spin on
Campbell
it.
would
I
be really
actually like
disappointed. You added
naming
a
the
spin on
players.
it. It was my question. You added a spin on it. I didn't ask you to add a spin on it. I said
Well,
we're
then
going
you
to
don't
talk
have
about
to.
this.
Yeah,
We're
we
going to
just
make
like
this a
getting
segment. We're going to make this a segment in a couple weeks.
Gotta
Grumpy
Woosah.
Boone.
Yeah,
Grumpy
don't- hey,
Boone.
Grumpy, you try calling me out.
Woosah.
don't be a Karen, Boone. Don't be. I named the players. You don't have to.
Oh, you
It's
did
okay.
not just call me a Karen. Okay. Let's get to the next.
Okay, I'm kidding. I take that back. I do take that back. All right, let's move on. Who cares? All right.
All you guys are frozen out of my end, and you just look so mad.
Hey, let's
No,
get
no.
let's get to over unders around the NFL. We'll go around. Gentry's got a bunch of over unders we can get to. So, Gentry, what do you have for us today?
All right, we still have kind of the same thing we did last week. We're going to go through QBs, RBs, wide receivers, and then a little bit extra on the wide receivers. But Lucas, since this is your first time, you get to pick what position we are starting with.
What position was last week?
Well, we do QBs, RBs, and wide receivers. So you just pick which one we're starting with.
Okay. My fault on that. And you'll lock in there. We'll start with the old wide receiver position. We've been heavy on that talk this week.
I figured you would. So, all right. The first one we're going to go, this is receiving yards too, by the way. We will do touchdowns after this, but first wide receiver, Christian Kirk, 850 yards. Over, under.
Little Christian Kirk.
Christian
ad.
Kirk?
Yep.
Oh, so this is outside the line? Oh, I like
yeah,
this segment. I like
it's
this
up.
segment.
Christian Kirk, 850.
850. And most of these lines are actually at FanDuel.
What's the order that we're going in so we don't start jumping?
I'm gonna go
the gun?
over. I'll just go. I'm gonna go over. He had
Okay.
750
Jeff, you go
last.
next.
He had 750 last year, and he only played at 12 games. I think he stays healthy. Ridley's gone. I think Brian Thomas does take a massive role in that offense, and I think Trevor Lawrence has a bigger year than he did last year. And if Trevor Lawrence stays healthy, Christian Kirk stays healthy, over 800 should be easy for him. I mean, the year before when he was healthy for 17 games, he had 1,100. The year before in Arizona, he had over 9. He had 980. So I don't see him now. If he stays healthy, he's going to get it.
Lucas, what say
Hefe?
you?
Go Hefe just so we can stay in order.
All right.
All right, I'll go. Honestly, because you got to factor in some injuries. You know, he's been. Correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't he been a little banged up in his
Yeah.
career?
Not in
And
his
it's
career,
been,
just
like,
last year.
unfortunate, like just either like a non-contact knee or he takes a brutal hit like to the knee or something.
I'm going to go over. They're probably going to rely on him. You got a rookie in Brian Thomas Jr. Gabe Davis disappears from time to time, so I'm going to go over. I think they rely on him.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to make him the wide receiver one. They tried to do that last year with Kelvin Ridley, and I sent you boys the videos last week, but Kelvin Ridley could have had probably 18 touchdowns and 1,600 yards last year. Like, the amount of opportunities that he dropped was insane. I think Christian Kirk's going to be way more reliable than that, so this is definitely over. And he's by far, maybe outside of Evan Ingram, just because he is a great security blanket, Trevor Lawrence's favorite target.
Yeah, no, he is 100% his favorite target. And I think if he does stay healthy, he's going to hit this by a wide margin. Obviously, departure of Calvin Ridley is just going to help that cause. Gabe Davis is not him, Booner. I'm sorry. So Christian Kirk's getting this 850. But yeah, moving on.
Hold on, Jeff. Keep that music going, too. I like that.
I had Calvin Ridley on my fantasy team. I really thought he was about to pop
Calvin Ridley?
So did I.
Yeah.
He had a great week one against my Colts.
Yeah. He did. All right.
Sad story. All right. This next one is for a special person in the chat. Puka Nacua, 1,125 yards.
Wait, what was it?
1,125 yards for Puka Nacua.
Wow.
What are we doing here?
I'm gonna say over. I'm gonna go over 1,100. What do you have? 1,400 last year. Played in all the games. I'm gonna go over 1,100. I think he easily gets that this year. Anyone else?
Loud, by the way, is music good?
It's good.
What was it?
I'm gonna go over. The only reason why he won't is because if he gets injured. All right, obviously. All right, and that's what they're factoring into this too. You know, and I'm gonna go over. I think he gets like 1,200, 1,300. I don't know if he'll go out and top what he did his rookie year, but man, he could. He changed his diet too, so that's going to be interesting to see how that affects him. But I'm gonna go over on that pretty confidently.
Bro, throwing his nutrition plan in the betting line, but no, I'm gonna go under. No, he's going over. I think it's impossible him with Sean McVay to go under that. He's gonna be the wide receiver one, I think, by the end of the season, just because Cooper Kupp, he's great there, but I think his time. It's going to be coming to an end. And when you have a wide receiver like Puka, you're going to feed him the rock. I think Kyron Williams is going to have a good season, but I think they're going to be going through Puka Nacua.
No, I think he hits this easily. I think Cooper Kupp's still a great wide receiver, but he's obviously can't stay healthy. And if you Matthew Stafford trusts you, he's going to get you the ball. So I think as long as Puka Nacua is out there, he's going to hit this line. So I'm going over.
Coach Rock 37 says he's eating impossible meat now.
Hey,
impossible vegan.
All right. The next one, back to the NFC North, DJ Moore at 950 yards for DJ Moore.
Ooh.
950.
This one, what did he have last year?
I think he had over 1,000 for sure last year.
Yeah,
different offense, different quarterback. More weapons.
I'm going to say he had 1,300 last year. Wow, what a big year. What is the line? 900?
950.
950.
He's hit that every year besides 2 seasons in his career. I'm gonna say over. And a lot of people probably are gonna go under just because you have Keenan Allen and Roma Dunze now. But realistically, like even in Carolina, like he always is getting 1,100 plus every year. No matter how many games he plays, he's going to get his at the end of the day. I think him and Keenan both go over 1,000 this year. I think they have 2,000-yard receivers. I think Roma Dunze is going to be the one that kind of goes a little under whatever his line is. So I'm going to go.
Chasing Puka's record, he said.
He's not going to get it. There's not enough football to go around for him to chase that record. So I think DJ Moore is going to get his, and I think it's the same thing with Keenan Allen. Like last week we did Keenan Allen's, and his was at 700. That's like way over as well. I think him and DJ Moore both go potentially over 1,000 this year.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over, but it's slightly. It's slightly. All right. I think he just hits this mark. I think I could see him getting 1,000. We got to factor in Caleb Williams. He very, very fine quarterback, but he's a rookie and he's gonna have a lot of mouths to feed. So it's a rookie trying to pass the ball and spread the ball. You got Cole Kmet, who's a pretty good tight end too, and then you got Keenan, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, and Rome. I think he's gonna go produce. They have a good rapport too, so he's gonna trust him. I don't know. I'm gonna go over, but slightly. Not confident with this one. I'm gonna go over slightly.
I'll be the one to go under. I think it'll be slightly under, but I think when you look at Keenan's game, he requires a lot of receptions. I think when you look at Roma Dunze, I think they are going to try to get him and Caleb's connection going off the bat because that's the one who's going to be in Chicago for the longest. So I think DJ will be one of those guys who'll probably have like 900 yards, but he'll probably have 8-9 touchdowns. I think in the red zone, he'll really be a factor. But even just with Caleb growing in the game, the fact that they're playing in Chicago, and I think people are going to be game planning heavy. I don't think the Bears offense is going to be sneaking up on anyone. So I think they know that DJ Moore is going to start out at least as the number one wide receiver. So I think production wise, it's not going to be 1,000 yards, but he'll still be a very good wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm going under here too. I think he'll be really close, but he may even hit it just barely and hit that 1,000-yard mark. But I'm going to go under here.
Did you guys all say under?
I'm moving on.
I said over slightly. I just said over slightly.
Here we go, Jeff.
Yeah.
Boom.
So me and Lucas went under. You guys went over. All right, the next one is actually a tight end. Brock Bowers, 600 flat.
Wow.
600?
Who's throwing him the ball? Gardner?
Yeah, it's the Minshew show, baby.
Ooh.
Gardner's going to get that man.
Give me the over. Yeah, give me the over. Brock, give me the over. He's a dog, too, by the way. He's the best tight end in this drive class. He's going to get 600?
600.
Easy. That's easy. And Gardner Minshew, he might have only thrown for 3,200 yards last year. Still a dog. He almost took the Colts to the playoffs last season. Don't forget about that. Gardner Minshew is an absolute dog. So I think he goes over. I think 600 seems low for that, to be honest, especially after seeing what some tight ends did last year, some rookies. Give me the over.
I think they're going to run a lot of those two tight end sets. And Michael Mayer, can't forget about Michael Mayer. Very fine tight end. I think Brock Bowers, he is the type of player that Gardner Minshew is going to absolutely feed. He's just a safety blanket extension of basically a wide receiver at the same time. I think he gets a good 600. I could see a little over, maybe 650 for his rookie or 700. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gardner's going to love him. I think he knows how to get open. So it's really about how they scheme him open. So I'm going to go over. I think he goes out there and hits that over.
I think it's over, but it's going to be close. I think just because, one, they're going to make sure Devontae gets fed after last year. That's going to be a factor. And Antonio Pierce obviously likes Jacoby Myers a lot, and it is a physical team. They're going to be running the ball a lot. And to your point, Jeff, they did bring in Michael Mayer. So there's going to be some games where I think Brock Bowers kind of disappears a little bit. That doesn't mean he's not a good player. I think he's going to go on to be a Pro Bowl, all-pro tight end type of player. But just this year, I wouldn't expect a huge year out of him production-wise. I think it's going to be the Devontae Adams show this year there.
So you took under, Lucas?
Slightly over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. I don't know how much he's going to go over by, but I think he'll be in that 600 range for sure. And actually, no, we're going to switch it up this time. We are going back to the NFC North, and I don't think this line was up the last time we talked, or else I definitely would have put it in there. But Jamison Williams, 625 yards. And this is an official line on FanDuel, 625 for J-Mo.
It's official?
Just strictly receiving.
Oh, this
Strictly
is a tough
receiving?
one.
Yep, it is receiving.
I'm going to let you boys go first.
625 for J-Mo. It was on FanDuel.
Dude, that's 36 yards a game. Give me that over. Give me that over. Give me that over. He's getting it. I think he'll at least double. So what is he? If he doubles, what do you have this year? He
354.
What was it? 354?
354.
So he's gonna have to more than double. No. That's over.
No.
That's over. Yeah, 700.
You get
Yeah, so if he
700
doubles it, he's over. Give me the over. Easy.
Yeah, I think we all just got to stand on business with this one, boys. We talk about Jamison Williams being the wide receiver 2, 625 yards. I think that'd be a mid-wide receiver 2 year, and I think Jamison Williams is capable of much more than that.
Yeah, like 600, honestly, 600 to 700 was the line that I think all of us had for JMO this year to be like, hey, this is what we're expecting out of him. So I think 625, we're taking that over. I expect 700 yards, essentially like around that. Last year, Josh Reynolds had 600. Khalif had Khalif basically had 500 last year. So I expect him to do a lot more than Khalif Raymond did last season. 150 more yards isn't that much more than Khalif Raymond. So I expect that to go over.
Yeah, I don't even need to answer the question. You know I'm going over. So we're moving on. And Lucas already brought this guy up. Devontae Adams is set at 1,000 yards flat.
Oh,
1,000
I'll just go
yards
first.
flat for Devontae Adams. I don't think I've ever seen a
I'm
lot
feeding
of
the
that
family with this one. I am feeding the family with this one. Gardner Minshew, look, he feeds a wide receiver ones. Michael Pittman, I don't know if you guys saw the year that he had last year compared to the year prior. Michael Pittman got fed last year. In Jacksonville, he fed can't remember the wide receiver off the top of my head in Jacksonville that he was feeding. But he just feeds his wide receiver one. He knows that he's going to go through the system. For him to be keeping his job in the NFL, he has to execute what the coaches want. And when you have Devontae Adams in that game plan, you make sure he gets the pill to Jeff's point. So I think Devontae is going to have a 1,300 yard type of season.
Yeah, he's getting that pill. Yeah, I mean, I'm going over easy. He's going to get a ton of targets. I know Jacoby's there, but man, like you said, Lucas, you said it perfectly. So I'm going over.
Yeah, yes. 4 straight years over 1,000. And last year, I don't even know who his quarterback was half of the year anyways.
Jimmy G and Aiden O'Connell. If Jimmy G completed just one more pass against the Lions, Devontae Adams was over 150 receiving yards on the game.
Oh, yeah.
But if he completed 2 of them, he's over 200 yards.
Yeah, I'm going to go over.
Give
me the over. Easy.
All right, so this is the last wide receiver receiving yards, and then we'll do touchdowns. But Jamar Chase, 1,200 flat. Obviously expecting a lot out of Joe Burrow this year. How did they bounce back? 1,200 for Jamar Chase.
Over. He had 1,200 last year with no Joe Burrow in 16 games. If he has Joe Burrow, he is easily getting over 1,200 yards. That's not even a doubt. That line's way too low. It's the same thing as the Amon-Ra St. Brown line. Way too low. You take the over on 1,200. If he with Jake Browning, 1,200 yards, think about what he would have done last year with Joe Burrow. He would have had another like 1,600 yards last year. Give me the over with that. There's no way he doesn't. And outside of injury, there's no way he doesn't go over 1,200.
I like that Joe Burrow talk out of you, Boone. You respect them.
I'm going to go over. He wants that bag, and you got to go out and show out. So I'm going to go over. I think he gets kind of what he did his rookie year, which was like 1,400. I can see that this year. So give me that number. I'm going to go over. Got to stay healthy, though. I'm scared about that. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. Jamar,
He's
a guy that
he has had 1 year.
I think he does go over.
I'm not just, especially with his frame. I think Jamar is a guy that he's going to suffer injuries, obviously, but I'm not worried about it. With Tyler Boyd this year, the amount of like third down catches that Tyler Boyd had in the slot over the middle, I think Jamar Chase definitely gets a higher workload. And I think T. Higgins is commanded for money. And Jeff, to your point, Jamar Chase, he wants to be the highest paid wide receiver in football. So he has a hell of a motivation factor when he can go out and say, you're going to pay me more than Justin Jefferson now. And I think he's going to go and do that. And to your point, Booner, with Joe Burrow coming back, I think going to be throwing the rock a lot more with Joe Mixon leaving. So big year for Jamar Chase.
I agree. I'm going over. So we all went over. There was only 2 unders that entire time, and it was me and Lucas both taking DJ Moore. The only unders.
I feel like that's easy money. I feel like they're almost banking on injuries to take people's money.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to TDs, we're going to start in the NFC North with one of our own, Sam Laporta, 7.5.
This is easy.
What did he have last year?
I'm pretty sure he had one.
I think he had double digit. He had 10?
I think he had 10.
He had 10 last year. Yeah, I'm going to go over. One of the reasons why I would go over on this is he had 10 last year with Josh Reynolds there. And Josh Reynolds was a guy in the red zone that Jared Goff consistently looked at a lot. Like that was one of his favorite targets, it felt like, in the red zone. Now with him gone, I think now you look at Sam Laporta being even more of a red zone threat. He already had 10 touchdowns last year, and it's not just him being a red zone threat. He's a playmaker too. Off the yards after a catch, he will go out there and make plays. So I think he goes over 7.5. That seems like the right number for him, and I think over that, I think he easily does that. I think another 9 or 10 out of him this year.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
This one, I got to think about it. I'm going to go over. I'm going to say he gets 8. I think he gets 8. So it's right there. So I'm going to go over, but I think he gets 8.
Yeah, the Booner logic on this one was the correct logic. I think he's going to be a red zone monster with Josh Reynolds leaving. And I think even when you saw in the playoff games, 4th and goal at the 1 yard line, what are they doing? They're throwing the ball to Sam Laporta in the playoff game that they ended up being a score that they needed to win. So I think they're continue to do that. Not only that, but he's a beast after the catch. I mean, the touchdown he had against the Broncos where he stiff armed, I think it was Alex Singleton into the turf, and they went on to get a tutty. I mean, the dude's just a monster after the catch. So I could see him getting 10 touchdowns again this year because he'll have a couple games where he'll get 2-3 touchdown games in one.
All right, moving on. We're going to Lucas's guy here, coming back from an injury, obviously. Tank Dell, 4.5. Tank Dell,
Tutty?
4.5 touchdowns. Yep, this is all touchdowns now.
I'll start us off. I'll take over, and I know they have Stephon Diggs now, and you have Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz, but I think Tank Dell, he's just one of those guys. He's an explosive player. He's a guy that'll turn a small play into a big play and score a touchdown out of it. He did that last year. I think. How many games? Do you guys know how many games he played in? I think
Probably like 11 or 12.
Yeah, and I think he almost had it like a touchdown every other game. It felt like. I don't know how many he
I had him
but,
and CJ stacked on my fantasy team.
Yeah, so it feels like he's just a touchdown merchant, and it's because he's so fast and like he's just a playmaker. So 4.5, like even with the new addition with Stephon Diggs, I think you go over. I think he easily gets 5. Let me see. I don't know. I'm gonna see how many he had last year because I think he will easily get that number. He had 7 in 11 games. Like he easily will get to 5 this year, easily.
Yeah, him and CJ and Tank they already have rapport. They're great friends. And he's back this season. So even though Stephon's there and yards are going to be obviously given out to Stephon, he's going out there and he's going to produce. But you got to think, though, in the red zone, it's got to be someone you can trust. And Tank Dell, someone he can definitely trust. He's reliable. He's got great hands, too. So I'm going to go over.
Yeah, not to mention the red zone, he's going to have to be getting single covered. And that Tank Dell is like any defensive back's worst nightmare because he's too quick for you to go out, and if you reach out, he's going to cook you in the corner at the pylon, whatever it is. He's just going to be a matchup in the red zone that nobody wants to face. And I think Stephon Diggs is going to go in there, but Stephon Diggs is going to be the wide receiver 3 on that team. I think Nico's the 1, but Tank Dell is another guy that's going to have multiple 2-3 touchdown games. I think he probably has 5 touchdowns by week 8. So I think this is an easy over.
There you go. Yeah, we agree there.
Jeff, you said over? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going over as well. CJ can move the ball around. We know that from Ohio State. I think Tank Dell is still going to eat no matter what. The next one we are doing is Kyle Pitts, 4.5.
Oh God.
Under. I don't even want to talk about him.
Under.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't like Kyle Pitts. Stay away from him. I
That
don't care
is
who he
wild.
has.
I love Kyle Pitts over.
I don't care who he has. Until he proves it back again, I'll take the under.
Dude had 1,000. He broke the record as a tight
sick,
end.
dude. That's awesome, man. Record's awesome. How did you do the last 2 years?
With Desmond Ridder, introduce Kirk Cousins.
What's his over under? What's his over under?
4.5.
You
He's had
kidding me?
6 total touchdowns in 3 years.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
And 0 of those being in the U.S., all overseas.
He has 6 total touchdowns.
Don't do that.
6
No.
total touchdowns.
I think he gets 4. I think he gets 4. I'm going slightly under. I wouldn't be surprised if he broke it, but I think Drake London's a guy that could probably get 10 touchdowns if he really wanted to. I think Bijan Robinson's going to be a workhorse, so I think it's going to be close. But I think Kyle Pitts isn't like a TJ Hawkinson, so if you want to talk about TJ Hawkinson getting fed touchdowns, he's not nearly the red zone threat, especially when you're just talking about you're not going to put Kyle Pitts out wide. I think you can try, but I don't think that's how you're going to get Kyle Pitts touchdowns when you have Drake London. So he'll be close. I wouldn't be surprised if he did it, but I think Drake London and Bijan are just going to get the work when it comes to touchdowns.
Dude.
Jeff just looks like a Kyle Pitts
I think
fan.
he's a good player. He could probably get 950 receiving yards
In about 8-9 TDs. That's what he's going to have.
Dude, he has 6 in his career.
You throw it up in the air, he'll go get it.
That's
Oh
probably
my gosh.
then at that case, he's probably having a
Based
better
off
season than
what? Based off what?
Oh, Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Who can throw the ball?
God, like
will
he's just
agree.
some god now.
He puts
Like
up
he's just gonna go in
numbers.
there.
We're talking about numbers. We're not talking about
He's
Super
not
Bowl.
I
TJ
think
in the
Kyle
red
Pitts is gonna
zone,
have
but
a
I
fine
don't
year,
think
but-
4.5 is asking that much out of him, and
Dude, he'll have like
especially
8-9 TDs.
now that he has a
promise,
quarterback.
promise you. Book that.
I
just
think
think-
he'll be over, but it's only going to be like 5 or 6. Like,
Okay.
he barely-
Drake London. Drake London. Who's up next after him? Bijan. Okay, good pass catcher.
Bijan,
Well-
Tyler Algier is definitely gonna get some in the red
How
zone.
many?
for sure.
How many do you
Dude,
think?
Tyler
All right,
Algier-
all right.
Algier.
When you're
Jeff-
talking about not through the air, I'm saying just touchdowns total.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but through the air. Who's
Who's
number
better,
two?
Jeff? Jeff, who's better, TJ Hawkinson or Kyle Pitts?
What are we really doing this?
I'm just
Obviously,
asking.
TJ Hawkinson has
He
put
had
up great
Kirk
numbers.
Cousins, so I'm sure he had.
Yeah, he's
a
gonna
lot of-
show
8 or 9.
gonna
I'm sure he
show
had
you
8 or 9
why-
touchdowns, just like Kyle Pitts will have, right? He had
What?
5.
No, Kyle Pitts. I promise you,
Kirk
he's
Cousins
going. He's
isn't-
going to. He finally got a quarterback, and he's going to produce, and he's going to put.
like
up
I
TDs.
could see him being over. Like I wouldn't be surprised at Gentry's point if he had 5 or 6, but 8 or 9. I would
9 is crazy, dude.
How many,
like-
dude? Where are the TDs? Darnell Mooney. I mean, name them.
9 is
I mean,
nuts.
he's never been a touchdown maker ever in his career. Even at
He's
Florida, he
never
wasn't
had a
producing
quarterback.
touchdowns. Even in
8
college,
or
like he's been a
9.
guy that gets you yards. He sets you up for touchdowns. But when you're in the red zone, you need to be a physical player because when you're a tight end, you're going up against safeties and linebackers. And I do not think that he's a guy that can consistently do that in the red zone. He can get a lot of yards after the catch, but I think when you look at it, why would you try getting the ball to Kyle Pitts when you can hand the ball off to Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, or throw a fade up to Drake London? I just think there's easier ways. Kyle Pitts is going to have a good year, but 950 yards and 9 touchdowns, that is probably the best tight end in football outside of Travis Kelce, and I do not think that's Kyle Pitts.
Really? That's
Uh,
unrealistic.
We talk about that with Laporta, and that's damn near Laporta's
That's
stat line.
900
line.
yards, 8 TDs. Wow. Best tight
That's
end.
Laporta's.
how
That's
many-
Laporta. Laporta had 850 and 10 touchdowns. That's
Yeah, he's not
essentially
going to
being-
have as much as Laporta, but he'll
You
have.
just said 8 or 9 touchdowns, 900
I
yards.
would not be shocked. No.
I would
would
be. I wouldn't be
would
shocked if he had. I
think
wouldn't
you
be
guys
shocked
are
if he had 900
extremely
yards.
disrespecting Kyle Pitts.
I wouldn't be
You
shocked.
trade intangibles, but how consistently do they translate into the football field? And Kyle Pitts has
He
not been
plays
able
a
to do that yet.
ball-dependent position.
Mark
quarterback
this
ball,
down for the
Position.
season.
So don't you think? Well, Taylor Heineke, Desmond are all trash quarterbacks. Taylor Heineke,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
Give him the credit there. So who do those
Yeah.
quarterbacks usually love to beat? Tight ends. That's their favorite person on the football field because they can't throw it deep. Kyle Pitts, he also has struggles with drops. If you watch Kyle Pitts, there's a lot of drops there.
Yeah,
He is
agreed.
tangible galore. But it's when you can consistently put it on the football field. And I just don't think he's a guy that gives you 8 or 9 touchdowns. Can he give you 800 yards? Absolutely. But I don't think he's giving you close to double-digit touchdowns.
Well, I think close because if he gets 7, 8, 9, it's technically close. So I'll go.
Well, I
I'll
think
go with
you're
that.
wrong.
Hey, why don't we mark this down? Because let's bookmark this. Kyle Pitts, 8 or 9 touchdowns. Jeff Iafrate.
I have all
No,
these
not
written
even-
down.
no, how about this? Kyle Pitts will be a big part of that offense.
I mean,
No, you can't
we
backpedal like
know
that.
that. He's going to be
Nine
their second,
TDs.
third. He's going to be their third option. We know that. You
Okay,
literally
do
said
it
8
then.
or 9
Go with 8 or 9
touchdowns out of
TDs.
Kyle
Book
Pitts.
it. I don't care. Watch, he'll have 7, and you guys will be like, "Ha,
For
I
sure.
told you."
8 or 9's a lot, dude.
How about this? Over under. You win under. I win over. Let's argue that. Let's do
7.5.
Oh, now we're raising it. Fits your
Yes,
narrative.
because you said 8 or 9.
I said I wouldn't
That's
be
your
shocked
narrative.
if you got 8 or 9. TDs.
Wait, time out. 30-second. Not to fit my narrative. That's your narrative, bud.
No, what was
You
the
said 8 or
over
9.
under? What was the over under?
4.5.
4.5.
You said 8 or
What did
9.
you say?
Jeff.
What did you say?
I said under, but I'm not.
And I said over.
wouldn't be shocked.
Moving
if it-
on, Gentry.
No,
What's the next
I wouldn't be
question?
shocked
All right,
if it was 5 or 6, but
There you
8
go.
or 9.
I wouldn't. I would not.
All right.
Mark
We're
that
gonna
down.
go
8 or
over.
9.
You got a lot
Don't
to get
put
to.
over under for him.
You
Put
choose
8 or
under.
9.
We'll revisit this.
Just
Over
put 8
under.
or no. Just put 8 or 9 for Jeff. in
now-
parentheses.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Do whatever fits your
Christian
narrative.
Watson.
Over under.
Christian
we'll see who
Watson.
hits.
Christian
can't-
Watson. Christian
All right.
Watson. 5.5.
Ooh,
5.5
he had
for
last
Christian
year.
Watson. Can he stay healthy, Booner? Tell me.
So last year he had 5.
And he's injured a lot.
And
He
9 games. And the year before, he had 7 and 14. What was the line? 5.5?
5.5. Christian Watson.
I'll take the over. He played in 10 games last year. I'm gonna take the over on that. I do think he is one of those guys that in the red zone, unlike Kyle Pitts, he will make plays in the red zone. He'll go up and get you a touchdown there. He had Jeff gave me a crazy. He had 7 and 4. Yeah, he had 7 and 14 games his rookie year. So I'm gonna go over. I think he gets it. If he stays healthy, he easily gets over 5.5. So I'm gonna go over. That's good to be a good football team too. Shout out Jordan Love.
I'm gonna go over, but man, they got a lot of weapons there. I'll go over for TDs for him. He's gonna be a good red zone threat. So I'll go over on that one. Slightly though, not confident, but I'll go over.
Yeah, I'm nervous because I think Jaden Reed's going to be a huge threat for them in the red zone. But I think 5, if he plays more than 12 games, he'll get that just because he does have a lot of opportunities as well as with on the ground. So I think he gets 5, maybe 6, but I think he gets, I'll give him 6.
All right. I think he gets 6 too, but that's it. He's barely getting over. So I'm kind of thinking of taking the under on that one. But
give me the under. Give me the under. I want the under on that.
All right,
a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. Right. Not high on him.
Patrick Mahomes' new weapon, not Hollywood Brown, but Xavier Worthy. 4.5 for the speedster. Xavier Worthy, Boone.
I'll take the over. I do think like his speed, and I think he's going to be a lot better than people think. Like when you go into an offense like that, we've seen multiple players go there and be very successful. Like Juju Smith, he not, I would say, revitalized his career, but he was a piece on that offense. And like last year, Rashee Rice had 7, Jerick McKinnon had 4 receiving, Justin Watson 3, 4.5 for a guy like Xavier.
No.
I think that's an easy over. Honestly, I think he's going to be a big piece. Like they have that offense just got very, very scary, very scary. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce. That's a very scary offense. So I'm going to go on over.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under for Xavier Worthy. I think, Hollywood Brown is definitely going to show out. Rashee Rice will. Travis Kelce, I can see him bouncing back, having close to – I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He's going to be their red zone threat. But I think Xavier Worthy is kind of a wild card. It could go either way. Obviously, most of these can. But for him specifically, it's hard. But I'm going to go under. I think he'll make some plays, but I think he's a guy that year 2, year 3, you'll really see Xavier Worthy. I don't know about year 1. He'll have that many.
Yeah, I'm aligning with Jeff on this one. I think when you look at the receiver that he is, he can probably get implemented in the run game, but he's going to be the 3rd, maybe even 4th option. I can't remember if it was Mecole or MVS. I always mix the 2 up, but they just re-signed another one of those guys too. So they're going to be a lot similar in what they're being asked to do. So I think, again, to Jeff's point, he'll be making plays, but I don't think he'll be in the touchdown column.
Yeah, I think he'll probably have a few touchdowns, like maybe 3, but I don't think he gets over 4.5. They have a lot of weapons. They got Rashee Rice, they have Hollywood Brown, and you still have Travis. So they got to move the ball around a lot. Mahomes is obviously going to throw for a lot of TDs, but I still think he goes under. All right, we are moving on to the running backs, and I have a few in here, especially for Lucas. But I'm going to start with Austin Eckler, 6.5.
Touchdown?
6.5 touchdowns for Austin Eckler. Obviously playing with the Redskins now. They got Brian Robinson.
Whoa, Gentry. Whoa. Commanders, check yourself.
Okay, sorry.
Cancel.
2024.
You got Brian Robinson. You got Jaden Daniels. 6.5.
Easy over. Easy. I don't know why it's so low. He's a touchdown merchant too. Like outside of last year, I think the years before that he had like almost 20 each year or something. He finds a way to get in the end zone, out of the backfield, or we're catching the ball.
Is this combined?
Yeah, it's just touchdowns in general.
Oh, then yeah.
Easy over.
I'm gonna go over.
I think, right? Is it rushing or is it combined?
It's just rushing touchdowns.
No, under.
That's a little
Under.
different.
I'm going under.
I'm going over. He had 5 last year, 13 the year before, and 12 the year before. I'm going over still.
I think you're going to see Jane Daniels score some of those TDs too. He'll have some. Any of Brian Robinson.
Give me the under. I think when they get in the red zone, it's going to be Brian Robinson, and then to your point, Jeff, Jaden Daniels. And I don't even think Austin Eckler is going to be implemented much outside of the red zone, so it's going to be through the air. I think he probably has like 3 or 4 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, I'm going under too. I hate Austin Eckler. He's screwed my fantasy team, so I'm holding a personal vendetta against him. I'm going under. All right, we're moving on. Nick Chubb over 8.5, and Nick Chubb is a fantastic running back, but he's ended 4 times in his career with 8 rushing touchdowns. And they
Yeah.
had the line set at 8.5, but he's
Good stat there, Gentry. Good find on you.
Guy's stat head.
Yeah. Oh, we're starting with me? All right, fuck it. Was Stefanski? Great player, but he's in the hands of Stefanski. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do here? I love Nick Chubb. I really do. He's one of the only lone Browns players that I like, so I'm going to give him the under. I think he gets 8.
I'm gonna go over. I think, you know what?
Blaze.
Deshaun Watson, he has not been Deshaun Watson of the past. And I think they're going to have to get back to running the football, and especially in the red zone. I'm going to go over.
Better watch out for that boy Jerome Ford, Jeffrey.
Oh.
I'm going under. I think he goes under. He coming off the injury. I'm not questionable on him, but I think there's going to be a little bit less of a load. So I'm going to go under.
I'm going under too. I think he just can't stay healthy. I think he'll probably be around that number 8, but I'm still going under. All right. The next one, Derrick Henry, 10.5. 10.5.
D-Hen in Baltimore?
You need 11 TDs.
Book
You need 11 TDs.
Yeah, I'll take that. He'll probably have 10 TDs by week 9. They're
It's
just
9.5.
10.5.
He's gonna lead the league in rushing touchdowns this year. I think he's gonna have one last hoorah. I think the wheels have fallen off of him compared to being King Henry. But when you're in Baltimore, man, if he just stays healthy, I mean, how many touchdowns did Gus Edwards have last year? If somebody can look, it probably wasn't as much as that line, but he still got in the red zone. Derrick Henry, he's gonna have a monster year.
All right, 1,400 yards, and what did he have? How many touchdowns? And 12 touchdowns as the wheels falling off. I'll take that all day.
Well,
going over.
I mean,
he's had
Derrick Henry was running for 2K yards damn near.
Yeah, he did it once, but he had over 10 touchdowns in 5 of the last 6 seasons. So I'm going over on this. I think he easily gets out of that's I might actually bet that myself.
Ooh, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go under. I think he ends with 10. I think a mix between. There's a couple things. By the way, the prime of Derrick Henry's career was he had. Okay, all right, people.
I don't know why it was
trigger finger.
I only hit it once.
The prime of his career, 16 TDs, 17 TDs. The last couple of years, he's been just slightly over. I get your guys' points. I think he gets 10 TDs. I'm going to go under. I think he gets slightly under that.
He gets less touchdowns than Kyle Pitts compared to Jeff.
Going under.
Kyle Pitts more touchdowns than Derrick Henry. Book it, Jeff.
No, I said 10. We'll have more TDs.
I'm going over. All right, these last 2 are made especially for Lucas. We're going to start off here. Kyron Williams, 11.5.
He'll get that.
Kyron Williams, 11.5 TDs. And these are rushing TDs. He can catch the ball too, but these are not included.
Kyron ain't scaring anybody through the air. He's a very good running back. I mean, he played in 12 games last year and he went over that. I think he's still going to deal with injuries a little bit, but I think he'll play in more than 12 games. He'll get over. ETN, we can break bread on that one, buddy.
Easy over.
I'm going under. There's a new touchdown merchant in town. Do you guys remember the biggest touchdown merchant in college football last year? Shout out, go blue, Blake Corum, baby. Blake Corum is a touchdown machine. They're going to get him in the red zone. Kyron Williams, all the way down the field. At the 2-yard line, handoff, Blake Corum touchdown. Every single time. So I think he's going to go under.
Taking his head off.
He's still going to have the same yards. He's still going to have a lot of touchdowns, but I'm going Blake Corum is going to get a lot of touchdowns from him. He's going He's going to take some.
All right.
Warner might take that man.
He had 12. Booner. He had 12 TDs in 12 games. 11 games.
He didn't have another running back in the backfield with him.
Okay, knock a couple.
It's not taking anything away
You're
from. It's not,
like
it's not taking anything away from Kyron Williams. He's still going to have a great season, just like he did last year. I just think some of those touchdowns are going to. Some of those touchdowns will be removed, and they'll be.
Okay, remove a couple. He'll have 13.
I think Blake gets some.
Booner, you should
Blake
have
and Kyron, they're very similar in how they play.
Huh? I don't.
Well, he had 12 and 12. So you're saying, well, he's not going to have as many. Okay, knock a couple. That's like he would have had like 17. So he'll have 13. You know what I mean? Like it. I think you're thinking too much of the knock a couple.
I do think Blake Corum's going to get more than you think.
Okay,
and there's the point with Kyron Williams. At the end of the day, Kyron Williams gets hurt. He's already hurt.
Yeah, but I think Kyron Williams, like his play, like you get Kyron Williams in the red zone, that's where he's really good at because he has low leverage and he's a really good running back at just finishing through runs, but he doesn't have it in the receiving game. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Blake's more of a receiving threat than Kyron, to be honest. Like I really wouldn't because they're very similar in how they play.
No, Blake will have a couple TDs. I'm not saying he won't like do anything. I think he will, but like, okay, 12 and 12. He's on pace for like close to 20. Okay, knock a couple. He's still over. He's hitting that over.
All right, we're
he just
moving on.
like to your point, Boone. If he doesn't stay healthy, yeah, everything's off the table. I guess
he hasn't stayed healthy in 2 years. So
all right, moving on. We got like 5 QBs to get through after this, so we're going fast. All right, last running back though, Jahmyr Gibbs, 11.5.
Over. Don't even need to know the line. Over.
Rushing.
11. This is all rushing, Jeff. It ain't changed. Ain't shit
Under.
changed.
I'm feeding families. Give me the over. Feeding families. Give me the over.
Under.
Over.
I think
we're doing like a speed
Jeff
round.
would take the under.
No, I just think David's gonna have 10 to 12, and then you throw in Jahmyr, he'll have probably you can have 10. What was it, 11.5?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he gets like 10 or 11. I don't think 12 is 13. I mean, now we're talking that's
I think he goes under 2 for rushing. I think he'll catch the ball and have obviously more than 11.5 total touchdowns on the year, but I think rushing he gets like 10.
Yeah, I can see that.
You realize this man had the most breakaway runs in the NFL last year, right? We do realize this.
NFL's not always linear.
Zone, you still
he had one game where he didn't have to share backfield against the Raiders, and he had 3 tutties. Child, please is what I have to say to that. I think 2 tutties, right. My bad, but he's going over.
All right.
Booner, what about you?
Over.
All right.
Good man.
We're moving on to quarterbacks. The first one we have is Anthony Richardson, 3,200.
Thanks, Jeff.
Oh,
for passing yards?
Whatever. Hey, Booner. All right, no, Booner left me hanging. All right.
I can't see the screen right now. I'm on a different screen, boys. You guys are trying to do something to me. I have ESPN up. I'm trying to look at
Lucas, you're up first. 3,200, Anthony Richardson.
Over. My Colts quarterback is going over. Give me 3,300. He's not going to have a big year through there, though. 3,500 probably what he'll get.
He says that under his breath. All right, Jeff, what say you?
What was the number?
3,200. Anthony Richardson.
I'll give him 3,201. I'll go over.
I'm gonna go under. I'm a fan of the Colts, but I think there's gonna be games where he ends up being injured, and he's not gonna play all 17 games. He's gonna be out a couple. Matt Ryan will get a couple snaps, so I think I'm gonna say under.
You say Matt Ryan?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's their backup.
No, Joe Flacco.
Oh, Joe Flacco. I apologize.
Yeah, well, it's same. They're both old. I mean,
yeah,
they're both old as shit. It don't really matter, I guess.
Flacco.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over, but I'm not. He's got to stay healthy. The only season I have. He missed most of it. So
yeah, if I'm not confident, I'm always gonna go under like that. So
yeah, I'll go over slightly.
All right, next one, Aaron Rodgers, 3,600 flat.
Over.
Yeah, I like the over too. I think he does have some weapons, obviously, with Garrett Wilson. I think he's going to have a good year. And now him coming off that injury, I don't really think that's going to affect him at all. But I think he goes over. I think it's like a 4,000-yard season for Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the best to ever do it. Has he? What was it? What was it?
3,600.
Dude, has he ever even came close to that number in his career?
Aaron Rodgers?
Wait, what?
Are you serious?
No, I'm talking. Well, I'm saying like on the higher end. I'm saying like I feel like he's always over 4,000. Like that seems so low. I'm not saying like under. You guys see what I'm saying? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well,
10,
it's
11,
missing
12.
games. They're factoring in
12 seasons. He's essentially had 3,900 or more. So
Yeah,
like that seems very low.
they're factoring in that injury he has. You know,
that's an easy over to me. If he stays healthy, that here's Mike Williams too.
Well, that's the thing.
Wilson.
You think it would think you have confidence he'll stay healthy? That's really what it comes down to.
That's all it is. It's the health.
I'm gonna say yes. If he's healthy, he's getting it. It's really. Do you believe he'll be healthy enough to get it? I would say yes, because I have them winning the division. So he's got to be healthy.
Since he's taken over as a starter, he only hasn't hit it twice, and it's just literally because, or 3 times if you count last year. But it's just literally been because of injuries.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Trevor Lawrence, 3,775 yards.
I'm gonna go over. Got paid. I think this year he's gonna be locked in. It's gonna be first year of proving why he's a franchise quarterback. I think he bounces back, so I'm gonna go over. This isn't TDs or interceptions. We're talking yards. I'll go over. I think he throws for 4,000.
Yeah, I think last year it felt like he had a bad season. Like everyone was going at him and on his case, and he still had 4,000 yards, I believe, last season. So I'm going to go over as well. I think that's an easy one. I think he easily hits 4,000 again this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I'm going to go under here. I don't think it's going to be by very much, but I'm not very confident in the receiving core. I think Brian Thomas is
Keep saying this.
He's going to be a fine wide receiver. I think Christian Kirk is a fine wide receiver, but I'm still not all that confident in the offense. Obviously, Evan Ingram's good too, but I'm going to go slightly under.
This is going to be something I'm not going to let you live down for a little bit if this wide receiver room ends up being good.
That's fine.
Especially Gabe Davis. You guys keep going at me for Gabe. If Gabe goes out there,
won't be good. He won't be good.
Brian Thomas
will put up his like 700-800 yards.
That's good.
No, that's what he does. He's just like.
Is that not good? Do you think that's bad? Is that bad?
No,
it's just
not
he vanishes
bad.
for 4 games at a time.
He's overrated,
and
in my opinion.
If he's not,
okay, so was Jameson Williams overrated?
You're comparing apples.
JMO, we're expecting him to get 700.
Why we can't just read stats, ladies and gentlemen. We have to look at things.
I'm just asking.
If JMO was going 100 yards the next game, 10 yards next game, 80 yards next game, 5 yards.
You're playing with Stephon Diggs.
What the hell are we doing? You know what I mean? It's just whatever. Continue. You're high on Gabe Davis. I understand.
I'm not like I don't think he's the best thing since sliced bread, but he's great. Like he's a good receiver. I don't think not great. He's good. I respect him.
He's your Kyle Pitts.
Who is it?
No.
Who are we talking about here?
No.
Right. Hey, shut up. Let me run these back to Booner or to Lucas. Lucas, Trevor Lawrence, 3,775 yards.
Over.
All right, and then the next one was Aaron Rodgers, 3,600.
Hopefully, he doesn't snap his ACL or was it Achilles? Yeah, I'll go over on that too. Fucking.
All right, now we're back in business. All right, last two.
He's out again.
Caleb Williams, 3,450.
Under.
God, dude, look at the face palm.
Actually, no, I'm going to go over. I think the weapons he has, I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over. I think I don't know, 4,000 maybe not, but damn, he can get close to that.
3,400 he'll get.
Yeah,
I don't think they've ever had a 4,000 yard passer, to be honest.
No.
I think
so. He'd be close. He'd be close.
3,600 area.
Yeah. Who's the last?
All right, last one. Kirk Cousins, 3,950.
Over. He's going to throw for a ton of yards, man. I'm telling you. That's what Kirk does. I mean, it's just dude throws for a ton of yards, ton of TDs, and does absolutely nothing with it. So I'm going to go over. And don't you dare say over.
I'm going to say over as well.
Oh, of course you are.
I said Kyle Pitts. Wouldn't be shocked if he had 900 yards. It's just the touchdowns we're talking about. 8 or 9 touchdowns is ridiculous.
My point was he's going.
We don't need to
he's
get
gonna
into this again.
Yeah,
I
gonna
think
let it
Kirk goes
We'll let it
over.
die.
Kirk goes over. When he's been healthy, he's had over 4,200 yards like every year.
Yeah, he's gonna, dude. Yeah, he's gonna ball out
For sure. I won't deny that.
All right,
I'm
is that
going,
it?
I'm going
Mailbag.
over as well, yes. I was waiting to see if Lucas was tapping in for one last one, but we'll leave those blank. We'll get those answers.
I want to give a shout out to Lions Kool-Aid, became a Crunch member earlier. We didn't end up getting to him. And also, Honolulu BS asked a question earlier. Question: pick 4 Lions you would like to have a beer and a bonfire with. I went Dan Campbell, Lomas, Chris Spielman, and Barry. That's a pretty good 4 right there.
It is.
4 Lions. I'm going to go Dan Campbell, of course. I think we all agree. You got to have a beer with Dan.
Yeah.
Can we do executives too?
Yeah, because I have an executive on mine.
I might go Brad Holmes. I might go Dan and Brad, to be honest. Damn. And then Amon Ra, Sam Laporta.
Wow. I'm gonna go Dan, Brad, Hutch, and Jared Goff.
Oh, wait. Historically, can we add those in?
Yeah, I guess you can, but I'm just going now. I'm gonna do nows.
Okay. Because I want Kelvin's my favorite player. I got to have Kelvin on there.
It's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna go.
Megatron's in there. Add him in there.
I can't tell if Lucas is in here. Oh man.
Who's your
All
4?
right, I'm gonna do Dan, Sam Laporta, J-Mo, and Kirby.
That's a good. Okay. Jeff Olson, mailbag. Who has more yards, TDs, Kyle Pitts or Jamison Williams? Oh,
That's a good one. Give me J-Mo.
J-Mo.
Give me J-Mo. Well, come on, Jeff. Answer the question, brother.
More yards and TDs? I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. Because he's the second option in the passing game. J-Mo would be the third. Jameer's, and so I would go. He's going to get more targets. He's going to get fed more.
Jameer's a higher passing option than J-Mo?
Did Sam Laporta die?
Oh, I forgot Laporta. You said or I thought you meant Jameer. So you said third. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. You had me confused. Why'd you say Jameer then? That was confusing.
Well, I said Jameer. He's going to be up there. He's going to get check downs. He's going to get fed.
So will Bijan.
This is an elite.
True. I think their yards won't be that far off, to be honest. We both said 800, 900. It's going to be about the same.
For sure.
If one hits 1,000, Kyle Pitts will have the targets, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. All right, we got 2 minutes left. We can get one more question. I don't know if anyone asked anything before we get out of here. Ed O'Neill, mailbag. Are the Lions better equipped to face the Bears defense this year? Why or why not? Yeah, I mean, they're a top 5 offense. They should be equipped to face the Bears.
And just another year of experience with these guys. Jared Goff with Sam Laporta, another year with Amon Ra, another year with J-Mo, and then you got Demon and Jahmyr Gibbs, the dynamic duo, getting another year under them. So,
and Ben Johnson's back for another year.
And the offensive line is still intact, if not better.
I think a lot of people, like, you think about like potentially losing Josh Reynolds, but I just think like this offense is so consistent, being able to find points and getting up the field to where it gets overlooked a couple times because there's not as big of net. Like you see like teams around the NFL that have 2, 3, like you look at the 49ers, we're like, oh, they have Brandon Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle, CMC. And then like you see like big names, but the Lions, just because they don't have as big of names as some other teams, they still are just so like consistent, and then they're so efficient. So I'm always going to take the Lions offense over any defense, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, to Ed's point, he says, "Then why do the Lions look so bad?" I mean, they made them look bad, but again, they're equipped. They have enough. It's really about
good question.
Mistakes. It's the turning the ball over. You know, it's
that was essentially it during that stretch. That stretch was when Jared Goff struggled a little bit. So
don't turn the ball. It's not stuff like that. Like, are they better equipped? I think they're equally as equipped. It's about, can they execute better? That's probably going to matter more, especially in Chicago, cold weather.
Think about too as well. Yeah, that's a factor. But also think about the Jared Goff situation. Like when they came back and won in Ford Field, I believe it was in Ford Field when they came back and won. That, like, the offense marched down the field and got that win as well. So like they did show they could move the ball on that team. And like the year before as well, that offense did the same thing. So I do think there is like they can do it. It's just like take care of the ball. If you take care of the ball in those games, you win. And I know that's like a simple, easy thing, but it's not that the offense just sat there and struggled the whole time. It's just, dude, you have to take care of the ball.
Yeah.
Take care of the ball.
Jared Goff went through a tough stretch.
Appreciate
shit.
all of you.
Hey, the Mavericks are smacking the Celtics.
Of course they are. That's not
61-35.
There we go. What does Luka have at half?
25.
Of course.
He's about to have 50.
Appreciate all you guys tuning in.
That's
ETN says
fucking
great week, boys. And the people all
Love
chiming
you
in.
all, man. Appreciate you guys watching.
I see him showing love. Honolulu BS. Great show. We appreciate you guys, man. You make this fun, even during the slow times. We're just trying to inch closer to the season. So get your merch. officialctsports.com. Get your merch.
Get your merch.
By the way, people. Oh yeah, get the merch.
One more time, Lucas.
Get your merch.
Thank you.
There you go. What's up, Boone?
Well, I'll tell the people next week.
All right. Until Monday, have a great
Monday.
weekend. Stay safe out there. Have fun, but not too much fun because we need you back Monday. Until
you
Monday,
guys.
we'll see you. Deuces.